Hey kids, welcome to the newest episode of the Theater Enthusiast and Other Things podcast. I'm very excited because I feel like there's a mutual love between us. There always has been.
Yes,
I feel like we always wish each other a happy birthday on Instagram. No, on the Facebook.
As you do.
And I just when I invited you onto the show, I was like, I love Tara. And that is who's on the show today. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Miss Tara Novie. Yes. Oh, they love you. They're just
That's
they're
amazing.
Going crazy.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes, kids, welcome. All right, now I turn it off. Tara, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. This is great.
I realized the other day, I'm like, I haven't had that many women on the show, which is
interesting.
Not great. I feel like the same thing with SNL though, because I was thinking about this the other day. I'm a huge SNL fan, and they don't really have that many female hosts. Like this season, they had Scarlett Johansson, Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Ugh, she's so great.
She's great. And then maybe one other part. I can't even think of it.
I haven't watched that show much lately.
Oh,
I used to a lot. I love it. It's just I don't know, life is so complicated. And also there's so much media
Stuff is life.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think at this point, as of late, all I've been really watching on TV is repeat of Friends and The Office. I haven't really been
I love Friends. You know, it's funny, and nowadays I feel like a lot of people are bashing Friends and are
really?
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard
or mostly just Ross.
Well, or just as a sitcoms are different in the 90s, you know, and I loved it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think they're the same anymore. Again, though, I don't really watch the cable that much, so I don't know. I stream and do all that stuff and try to keep up with shows, but I loved Friends, but I feel like, you know, a lot of people are just annoyed by it. There's a reunion, right?
Well, you know what's interesting about the reunion is that, you know, a lot of people are oh, a reunion, but it's not an actual reunion where they're not coming together to film an episode. They're literally coming together to talk about the series.
Oh, I thought they were filming an episode.
No.
I guess I misread or something.
Maybe but no, I think it's them just coming together to talk about it. So it's a reunion, but it's not really a reunion where they're playing their characters.
I want that though.
I think everybody wants
that.
Yeah,
that would be great. It's been so long.
I will say Will and Grace. I love Will and Grace. Their reboot hasn't really been that good.
I wasn't, you know, I never really watched that show. My parents did, but again, there's just so even, you know, it's funny, people are saying now, I mean, there's a plethora to I was gonna say to fucking, you said I could curse, to fucking consume.
Guys,
I curse a lot. There's so much to consume now, and it's amazing and exciting, but I even still think that there was then too. You know, there always has been. It's just different.
Well, ways, I think there's also, you know, back in the day, we didn't have Netflix. We didn't have Hulu. We didn't have, you know, HBO. We didn't have all of these streaming services that we have now. So there's so much more content.
There's a different way to watch TV now, of course. But even so, you know, you still had to pick and choose. You couldn't. Yeah. Depended if you wanted to record it on your VCR.
Yeah.
You know?
See, kids, back in the day, before you were born, if you were even listening to this and you're of a pubescent age of 5. Anyway, so I love how we just started off talking about some random shit. Anyway, so Tara and I went to college together. She's a year or two older than me.
I think a year.
When did you graduate?
Oh, 8.
Yeah, so you're a year older. And I remember you doing Wild Party. I remember you doing a directing festival show. Did I? Yes, you did. I remember because it was the year I directed a show.
The one with Rob and Ariel?
And you were in a musical playing a bride. I have a very good memory for stuff. And I remember working, you're doing something on a show you were working on. I think it might have been Ragtime.
Yeah, I was in Ragtime.
And then the costume designer told me that she thinks you sold a sweater. And we were in Rosella's and I told you and you're what?
How do you remember these things?
I have a really good memory.
When you say it, it comes back to me, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right.
No, I am.
You're
no,
right,
I have a really good memory.
Yeah.
I won't know where my phone is, but I have a memory for the past. Maybe that's why I like history so much, because I harbor so much on the past.
You know, it's funny. I'm like that too, but I'm more with dates. I remember dates to a T. And I think because I'm a musician, you know, my background is music, so my brain works mathematically. So, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, Tara, tell the kids at home where you're from.
I am from Queens. I'm a Queens girl.
She's from Queens.
I'm from Queens.
Guys.
I don't really have an accent. I don't even know
I'm
what
from
the
Long
Queens
Island.
accent-
I don't have one. I had to do one for a show in college.
It's very college. Well, we use...
College.
It's funny because I just went to grad school, which we'll get into, obviously. But, like, I am super excited about speech and dialects and accents. And my ear is just attuned to them all the time now. And one thing that was really interesting with my class, I was the only native New Yorker. And we use the vowel like no one else does. Because I say Tara, but most people in this country say Tara. And Tara is a different name, but do you know what I mean? So, like, even college, it's like the Forest Hills. Like, I say I'm from Forest Hills,
Well, how do
Queens.
other people say college?
Okay, maybe not college. That was a bad example. But I was going to say, like, Forest and Orange and, you know, most people say Forest, Orange. I was doing a play last year, and my director really wanted me to say Forest. But my castmate was from South Africa, and her dialect, she says Forest, you know? But it was okay for her. And I was like, I can't say that's my dialect. Yeah. Anyway, side note. But I'm from Forest Hills, Queens.
Represent.
Not Forest Hills. Forest Hills.
Forest. Well, Tara actually went to the famed high school, LaGuardia. Yes. Many of you, if you are of a certain age and obsessed with Call Me By Your Name like I am, as you can see on my computer, Call Me By Your Name stickers. Timothée Chalamet went there.
Many years after me.
Many years. But Tara's more well-known, guys.
Oh, yeah.
So where did your love of theater pretty much start growing up in Forest Hills, Queens?
Yes. So it's interesting. I started in music primarily. My mother is a singer. She was a professional jingle singer in the 80s. She was on MTV. She did like a song for a movie. Oh, cool. She did a Michelob commercial. She was in bands. So music was always in my family. My dad also was a theater major in college, but did not pursue it. So the arts.
Did he pursue?
He is in the fashion industry. He is a leather sourcer. It's very interesting. My family is eclectic. Yes, I have a lot of jackets.
This just reminds me of like I love Project Runway. I realized like Real Housewives of Orange County and like Orange County and Project Runway are like my happy places when I'm watching TV.
Yeah, I don't watch any.
And I just remember like years ago when like Heidi Klum hosted with like Tim Gunn, there was like a designer. She's like, I always work with leather. And that was like her thing.
It's beautiful, you know, and I love it. But it's been in my family. So I took, I started taking ballet at a young age, and I started playing the piano at 9. And then I went to sleepaway camp, and there were musicals, so I started doing them. And when I was at LaGuardia, I wasn't an acting major there. I was a vocal major, so we mostly did...
What made you decide to... Do you have to audition for LaGuardia High School?
You do.
So what made you decide to audition for LaGuardia? Did you want to do a performance?
Yeah, I was always, like, doing performance of some sort. Funny enough, in junior high... I chose to be in the band, like in band, and play the flute as opposed to the drama chorus or the chorus. Like I don't know, I'm just eclectic and interesting.
You want to like get all of your things.
Yes,
you want to learn them all.
But I knew, I took like the Stuyvesant test. Like I didn't really study. That's in New York, basically. Like you can go anywhere.
I have no idea.
It's very complicated here for high school. You can go to any high school. You don't have to go to your zoned high school. Some have tests. Some are academic based. Yeah. I knew, I loved the arts. So that was a desire for me. And now there's even more arts high schools than when I was around. So I did audition for vocal and drama departments. And I didn't get into the drama department 2 times. I tried to... I tried to audition again while I was there to switch majors, but didn't work.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I actually auditioned for musical theater at Pace, and I didn't get in.
Well, yeah,
which is fine.
Times change. And
well, I mean, now I wouldn't even make
I don't even know if I would, to be honest. Like,
I feel like every single person that I've had on from Pace has been like, yeah, if I auditioned now, I probably wouldn't get in.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't either. Yeah. I don't even know if I'd passed the pre-screen. There's pre-screens now.
Oh, really?
We'll get there. Anyway.
Oh, yeah, because we'll chat.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I'm so excited to have you on this podcast.
There's so much to say.
There really is. There really is.
Yes,
and if people who are wanting to pursue this career is on and want to go to college for it and, want to audition for college, guys, seek out Tara.
Yes, I have lots of
She
lots
has
of information.
Lots of the information of lots of things. So
anyway. So yes, I knew I wanted to go into the arts. At this point, I guess I thought I would professionally. Like, I don't know.
You thought you would have, like, a record deal or something?
I don't know. I don't think I knew. I also, like, I think throughout my life, one thing... I mean, this delves into self-trust stuff, which we can get into, but I've never... Sometimes I have trouble saying, this is what I want. Like, I just do, and I don't plan enough, but I try to follow what feels honest. I try, you know?
Yeah.
So I was a vocal major there. It was based, we studied classical voice. I didn't get personalized instruction, so it's interesting. I kind of wish I did. I feel like I really learned technique in college, but it was the most incredible place in the world. Like, we didn't dance on tables like they do in the movie. Yeah. But, And I did gospel choir one semester. I was in a songwriting class, and I recorded one of my songs. I think it's on an album from that class. And they had concerts. I was in choruses, all this stuff with academics. So it was very busy. And I did the musical for 2 years. We did Les Mis once, and we had the old Broadway set because our concert hall was like insane.
Who did you play in Les Mis?
I was whore number 2.
Ooh, sexy.
Yes, it was very sexy.
I usually go by whore number 1 in my life. No, just totally joking.
No, it's great. And I did Godspell there as well.
I was literally singing that to myself today. You know what it is because Wet Hot American Summer was on last night. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie.
I have, but I don't know it that well.
I would like to take full-on credit for introducing that to the PACE my year to that class our freshman year. Because I am the one who planted that seed. And then, like, everybody started to watch it.
Yeah.
I am taking full credit for that.
I think I watched that in, like, 2015. Not even, that long ago. But
they do, like, the scene from Godspell. And my favorite, not the scene, but the song, and my favorite, the guy's like, my favorite ditty, day by day.
That's what I sang. Yes. That was my solo, day by day.
Just like a total side note, yes, the Hot Priest candle is lit.
Yeah.
I'm drinking out of my Hot Priest mug.
Oh, my God. I want to... Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I want a Hot Priest candle.
FC, baby.
It's great. Oh, yes, that's great. I have the waitress mug.
My mug also says Neil. Oh, yes, sorry. Yes. Tara has.
The waitress mug.
I told Tara, I'm like, I couldn't decide, like, I knew I was leaning more towards giving you the waitress mug because I can just, like, picture you in the waitress outfit. I'm also really good at casting things. You're welcome. But then I was like, I also have a Brigadoon mug, and I can kind of see you in that, too. So it was up to Tara, and she decided on waitress.
I actually don't know Brigadoon very well, so.
It's okay. I didn't really know that well either until I saw it at City Center.
Oh, yes.
With, like, Queen Kelly O'Hara.
I just saw her in Kiss Me Kate a little while ago. She's so fantastic.
I think she was a little miscast in that. But that's a story for another time.
I don't agree with that, but that's okay. We can
listen.
I would analyze theater with you. Opinion. Yes, I would analyze theater with you for hours here.
Girl,
so we might have to cut ourselves off.
We can do that. The longest podcast I think I have is almost 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
I know you're on like a little bit of time today, but it's fine. Anyway, I just got my nails done in food shop. Adulthood. Anyway, so you go to LaGuardia.
So I did the musicals, and it's an amazing place because. Everyone there, I guess, wants to be there, but also, am I too loud? Do you have to bring it back?
I'm, like, afraid they can't hear you, but they probably, no, you're fine. Sit where you are.
Everybody
just, there. I get very uncomfortable in this chair, so I'm going to be moving around a lot.
Do your thing. Everybody there everyone there is some sort of artist, and it brought together people from all over the city. So I met people and was friends with people that I wouldn't have met otherwise. Like, it was just so cool.
In contact with anybody?
I have a few close friends still. Yes.
Are they pursuing theater still?
No, I don't think so. The ones I'm closer with, no. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people we went to college with, I mean, also kind of don't.
It's a hard life, man.
It's a hard knock life, guys.
It's a hard life, but yeah. So, at the time, I guess should I still talk about LaGuardia? Or
you can talk about whatever
I'm going to move a little forward just to say, I guess, you said how did I get into theater? So I guess sleepaway camp, if that answers your question. But I was going to say, trying to figure out what I wanted to do for college was interesting because
which we were going to get into, like, how and why with the PACE. But
I transferred in there. I wasn't there my first year. Yeah.
Where were you?
SUNY Geneseo. In Rochester,
Rochester.
That's
us being New Yorkers again, guys. Yes. Rochester.
I think I chose musical theater. I loved it, I kind of wanted to try to just do acting, but I knew I would have missed singing too much.
Do you think of yourself as a singer who can act or an actor who can sing?
As a singing actor or an actor who can sing.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I feel like...
Because musical theater performers are actors first. I'm sorry. I have a lot of feelings about that.
I think it depends on the person, honestly.
Yeah, but I think if you're going to do musical theater, you are an actor.
Yeah.
You're telling a story. That's the point. Then just be a rock singer or something, you know. But for me at that point, to be honest, I wasn't that immersed in musical theater. Like, I did them at camp. I did the musicals at school. But I really wanted to be an actor. I wanted to be a singer too. But I didn't want to study classical voice in college, and so I was like, oh, you know what? The ideal thing is to just do musical theater and see where that goes, right?
So how did you decide to go to Geneseo?
So I applied to a few schools. I was waitlisted at Emerson and maybe a few others. Geneseo was, I think, the only SUNY school. It was a very good school, but it was a BA. I really aimed high. Like, I thought I did my research, but like, you know, I didn't apply to UMich, which is a great program. Like, I applied to some like NYU and Syracuse and Ithaca, and like, I didn't get into a lot of them, and I got into Geneseo. And I would have rather gone there than, I think I got into a few other schools, but not for the major I wanted. So I decided to go up there for the year. Which was really hard. City girl in a
small town world.
Yeah, small town world. Yes, and you know, I didn't have a car. I didn't even drive. I got my license that following summer in case I went back, because my parents said they'd get me a car because the whole main street was I would get rides. I think there was a bus that went to Wegmans, but it was hard, and I was also in like a very tumultuous long distance relationship at the time that was, I don't know if that's what drew me back to the city, but I think it was for the best because I needed to be back here. But
how was the program there?
It was interestingly enough, my vocal training was more classically based musical theater, so that was interesting and good, but I didn't really hone in my belt until Pace, my teacher there. But it was good. It was just a year, you know. I enjoyed it. I think I actually did Kiss Me Kate there, which is funny. I was in the ensemble of that. I think it would have been a good education, and it was a liberal arts school, so I was taking a lot of other, like I took geology or something while I was there. So, but it was a different world for me. Like you know, these frat parties, and I'm like, what am I doing? Like, it's just weird. So,
just like the idea, even when I was in college, like the idea of like sorority or like a frat, I was just like, bleh.
Yeah, but we didn't really even have, I mean, was there a
Pace? Think so.
Yeah.
And it's funny too because people are like, there's no campus, and I would be like, the city is our campus.
Yeah.
Guys, that's what we have. It's funny because like I applied for Pace, and I've always wanted to go to school in the city. I actually forgot I applied there, and I got in. So and I just ended up going to Pace, and then like a few weeks before school started, I auditioned for musical theater. Didn't get in, but the person I auditioned for was like, you want to do directing, you want to do this, you want to do that, become a BA. And it wasn't until after I did a show my junior year, The Food Chain, I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I actually used to do a monologue from that play way before you guys did that, and I was like, oh shit.
It's okay, I was great in the part, it's fine. Yes. They actually used my performance in that for like my BFA audition.
Oh wow.
So I didn't even have to like apply, like audition for BFA.
Oh wow, I didn't even know that. I thought you always were. Where in Long Island are you from?
Nassau County. I grew up in Montauk.
Okay.
Yeah, South Jewel, Long Island.
Cool. Wow.
Yeah. So you were in Geneseo. What made you decide to go to Pace?
You know, it was funny at the time. I was a little overwhelmed. I think I didn't apply to that many places, to be honest, to transfer. So I think I applied to Steiner.
Well, what made you decide to transfer? You were just like, I need like not to be able to have a car.
I think I was, you know, it was like half my relationship, but I think it was more than that. Like, I just didn't feel comfortable and like myself, and I missed New York. I just didn't feel like I fit in.
Yeah.
It wasn't really the education, but I don't know. Sometimes I have trouble like accessing. As I've gotten older, I've become more in touch with like my gut and what my intuition is telling me. But when I was younger,
I think that's everybody, though, because you're 18, 19 years old. Like, I had no fucking idea what I was doing, like, freshman, junior, like, however long I was in college.
Yeah.
Like, I was a mess.
Yeah, but I think when it did happen to me, it was, like, really strong, and I just followed it, you know? Yeah. So I don't know, it just didn't work. I don't know. And it's funny now because...
Think of it this way. If you didn't go to Pace, we wouldn't have met.
Exactly,
yeah. And you wouldn't be here today on this podcast.
No, yeah. And, so yeah, I just knew it was right. And, my friend Nick, Nick Miller, who I went to Pace with, who I went to LaGuardia with, was also...
What's he doing? He's doing something
He has a catering. Yeah, I think he has his own business now. It's great.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm actually... This is amazing to say. Do you remember when we did Company?
I didn't see it, but I remember when you did it.
So Rob Hinderleiter is a producer on the show, and he has organized for my whole entire cast. We are going together on the 17th.
I was going to say, if you're going on the 25th of March, I will be there.
Oh, yeah. So it's going to be really amazing and special. But I am going to see Nick that night. I just
remember, like, somebody we went to college with was, like, really pissed they didn't get cast in that part. And it's, like, a Bobby, and it's, like, get over it. Like,
well, also doing Company when you're, like, 21 is different than... Now, the appropriate age of us. Like James, our Bobby just turned 35, and it's like, wow. Yeah. But, so Nick was applying or had already gotten in. I think I was a later applicant, but...
I think he was, like, he's older than me, but I think he was my year.
Yes. Yes, actually.
He was my year. He graduated my year, because I remember he was in my, like, acting...
Why is that, though? We graduated high school together. I think just his credits or something. Because he wasn't actually in my year ever. I don't know.
That's fine.
Anyway, so he was applying, and he was like, hey, there's this program. Like, why don't you check it out? And I was like, okay. I didn't even audition for... I auditioned for Dr. Wharton Dyke.
I auditioned for Amy.
I didn't audition for Amy, so who knows if I would have gotten in that either.
Amy Rogers was the head of the musical theater department at the time that we were at Pace. Is she? Mm-hmm. Because I sometimes, when I'm bored at work, I'll, like, go on the Pace website and be like, what shows are they doing?
Yeah, she is. What are they about to do? I actually just worked... I did this Hermes event with a few current Pace students, so I got to talk to them a lot. It was interesting, but I forgot what show they're about to do. But yes, she's still there, definitely. Yeah. So yeah, and then I ended up going to Pace. Yeah, and it was good. I was happy to come back.
So what was your audition process like for Pace? Did you do a monologue? Did you sing a song? Did you do both?
Both. I think I did 2 songs and a monologue, up-tempo ballad. If I remember correctly, I definitely sang "Always True to You" from Kiss Me Kate in my which is I wouldn't do now because I don't know.
Always True to You.
Yeah. And what was the bell? Oh man, I don't remember.
I remember mine. Yeah. I don't remember my monologue, but I remember my songs. It was "Who Will Buy" from Oliver, and it was the song from Jekyll and Hyde that I can't think of the name of. Like, I peer through windows, watch life go by. That one. Someone Like You.
Someone Like You. I like that song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my up-tempo and my ballad.
What? Now it's going to kill. Maybe I sang Who Will I Turn To. Do you know that song? The roar of the grease paint, the smell of the crowd. I love it. My mom turned me on to that song. It's just
is that from a musical? Or
it is. Like that's what it's called. The musical. It's really not. It's not well known at all.
Well, that's probably why I don't know it.
It goes.
I mean, like, I'm a theater nerd, but like I know people who like know a lot more. So you go to Pachem Pace University. So, and this is a disclaimer, and I say this every single time because everybody knows I had a really shitty senior year at Pace. But just because I had a certain experience doesn't mean that everybody else had the same experience, and it's not putting down the program, it's not doing anything. So what was your experience like at Pace? What would you say have been like the best moments? I know you don't like choosing best and worst.
I don't. I said that earlier, yes.
But I will say, like, you know, maybe like special moments, if that doesn't have to be the best, but like moments that stick out for you that like have been better than others, which is literally just saying like what have been your best moments, but wording it differently. And then what have been like, would you say are like your lowest moments that you had?
Huh. Interesting. Okay.
I know, I'm really good at this.
So
I make my guests think, guys.
Yes, I like to think. I think I'm going to talk overall, and maybe like I'll sprinkle in some of these moments.
Who doesn't like a sprinkle?
Yes. I was never babied in college, so I never left thinking that I would like get every role, or like it would be easy, right?
Yeah.
Maybe then like my ego was too low, not low, but do you know what I mean? Or but so I wasn't. I did get a great role. Like my senior year, we did Wild Party, and I played Kate, and I wanted that role, and I was very happy.
You were in Pink, I remember.
Yes.
Yes. Again, I have a very good memory for
Sequins. I can't speak.
Welcome to my life.
Yeah. I'm just embracing it now.
Yeah. Comes with age.
So, oh my God, my throat is so scratchy.
There's plenty of more water. Don't worry.
Excuse this. So it's interesting because I think the program has grown immensely, and it's so exciting, and I'm thrilled to come from there. I would be so curious, like, if I was there now, like, where my life or career would be.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think I got a good education. Like, my teachers were great. I made some really good friends. I learned how to
Do you still talk to a lot of people?
Yeah, well, Melanie Anderson, well, she was Melanie Briggs, is a good friend of mine, and we work together. I consult with her for her studio. I just had coffee with Arielle last week.
How is she?
She's good. Yeah, she's very good.
She's always been like, I've always like, she's so talented. Like, I wanted her for my directing festival show, but
she's very talented. And we're actually going to work together next month for a reading.
Oh, great.
Which is cool. But so I learned, first of all, I learned about musical theater. Like, I didn't have, like, the foundation, even in regards to, history. Like, I took musical theater history, and I loved that. I loved learning about, the golden age and before, the 30s and the 20s and and contemporary. I learned how to act a song. Like, and I think I really know how to do that, and I'm proud of that. Sometimes, honestly, I feel like sometimes people don't even want to see that detailed storytelling, or you know what I mean? But like, I think it's really important, because if you are going to sing,
you have to tell the story.
You feel so passionate about something that you can't just speak it. You have to sing it, right? So like, there's so much behind that.
Yeah.
And so, but I did, like, my junior year we had, and actually I think this was like one of my favorite classes. We had a scene study class, and I remember Rob and I did Carousel. And we did the If I Loved You scene, and I loved it. I loved delving into the work in a detailed way. And I had a wonderful voice teacher there, Mariska, who helped me find my voice. I did not really know how to sustain a belted note before that. Like, I know where my break is. Not even high belt, but it's like that break, like BC. Yeah. Sometimes I still have trouble.
Yes, like I know what BC is. I don't. I just
the note.
Sing, and then whatever happens.
Do you know how to read music?
Kind of, sort of. Like, I know if I have to go, like, higher, lower to, like, say, like, to hold out a note, but I don't know what, like, the note is. Yeah,
well, I guess that comes from, piano lessons, but I had to study music at LaGuardia. Like, I learned how to, we had sight singing, sight reading. Like,
I took piano lessons from someone for, like, a hot minute, and I just, like, it was also expensive, and then they just, like, stopped responding to me.
Oh, no.
Which is fine. But, no, I've taken voice lessons and things like that in the past. It's just that I don't know notes. But, like, if I see, like, a note, it's supposed to go higher, it's supposed to go lower, and also a lot of what I sing in my head, or, like, when I'm just, like, sitting blow drying my hair in the shower, it's because I've listened to, the recording of it, like, a bajillion times.
Which is interesting, because just to comment on that, I think that's a big thing in this industry and in this art. It is really important to find your truth in a piece or in a work, and where our ears and our bodies absorb way more than we process. So, like, I have had trouble, I did hair a few years ago, and I listened to that Revival cast recording so many times, but Cassie Levy and I are not the same person, and we're not the same voice, and I actually had trouble when I was rehearsing, just subconsciously, like, making choices like what she made, and so it's funny how a lot of people...
Did you get naked in that production?
I did.
Good for you.
Yeah, it was great.
I would love to play that role, but I'm like, would I get naked on stage? nobody wants to see that. So
no, but it's for it. I wouldn't just get naked
yeah.
for any show, but I think it's that the nudity in that show serves a purpose, and it.
Why do you think Claude, right? Is that his name? Yes,
yeah,
Claude.
yes.
Why do you think he went to war?
Oh my God, why? Thinking back to that, why did he go to war? Honestly, I can't answer that right now.
I think it's
that weird?
To like the actor.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I get it,
and I didn't think. You know, I wonder if I can't answer it because A, it's been 5 years, but also, it wasn't my. I mean, I'm sure at the time I had a feeling about it. Yeah, I don't know. I can't answer that.
You know,
Sorry.
I often, I like certain times I'll be like, why? I get why in my head why that might have happened. Like, you know, he's so against this, but also at the same time, like, his family wants him to go, and you kind of want to please your family, even though you're so against it.
Yeah. I
don't know. I mean, we all have things like that in our lives, so I think it could also be up to the actor. Like, in the play Doubt, did he do it? Did he not? I think if you watch the movie, he did it. If you see the play, you don't know.
I also think sometimes my memory is really weird. Like, I have a lot of, like, I can't remember every single detail of that show, so like I can't fully answer that question.
That's fine,
because a lot has been in my brain since then. You know,
it was so many years ago. I have like not that much in my brain from 5 years ago. No, I do.
No, you do. You do.
I do. I take in a lot.
Yeah,
but yeah, back to pace.
Yes. So yeah, like those classes, the training. Like I as I said, I learned the craft. I did. Yeah. I mean, this kind of is part of me going into grad school, but I had at the time I wished we had more acting training. We only had acting. So I was only there. I started my sophomore year, and that was the only year I had acting. And then I chose to take a scene study class for Ibsen and Chekhov with the acting majors as an elective, like my junior year or senior year. I think junior.
Would you say that like were you friends or friendly with any of the acting majors that year?
Yeah.
Was there any animosity between? I mean, because like it's interesting. I was friends with a lot of the musical theater majors, and you know, I still to this day, like one of my best friends, Carrie Bond, McGinnis, she was a musical theater major. You know, Lisa Lamont, I still keep in touch with. She was musical theater, and like senior year, I was like, it's funny, I have more like freshman musical theater friends than I do like senior acting friends. You know, and then because there was a huge divide my senior year between the acting majors, which we're not going to get into. I have in the past on this podcast. And then, like, there was a huge meeting once with the acting majors senior year, and, like, the other group that I wasn't, like, a part of, they were like, well, you know, the musical theater majors and blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I'm friends with musical theater majors. Like...
Yeah, I mean, there's always... It's hard, you know, people section themselves off, and, like, it happens in college so much. It just... It's kind of... It can't be helped, but it can be... You know what I mean? Like, a major, you kind of... You kind of separate yourselves in a way.
I feel like I'm always talking so negatively on this podcast. I just realized.
Oh no, we're having a conversation. Yes. It's fine. No, but I actually think more of my acting friends were younger than me. Like Tommy Slavinsky, like I'm very close with him still, and like
what is he doing?
He's in California.
I googled him once, and he's like modeling and acting or doing
whatever. Yeah, he's good. And like even you know you're younger than me and.
Sorry, guys, we had to pause for a second. So Tara was just saying how great I was, and that I'm a year younger, and that she's friends with me. So anyway, you're friends with still people who are straight acting.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I'm a nice person. I always have been. Yeah. You know, I get along with, like, as many people as I can. Listen, in life, sometimes you don't get along with people at senior college, but...
I feel like you can't not get along with somebody, though. You know what I mean? Like, you're a very open... Like
I think I've always been like super nice to people, and like even if I had like issues with people in college and I was friends with people that they were friends with, I was never like, I mean, I had a moment like this a couple of years ago where I'm like, I can't believe you're friends with this person and you're like one of my best friends, how dare you? But I mean, aside from that being an asshole part of my life, you know, I remember like somebody I was friends with somebody I wasn't a huge fan of, and I think it was vice versa. I said to them, like, just because like you are friends with them, like, or I don't like them doesn't mean that you can't be friends with them. I'm not gonna like not. Yeah. You know, I'm not here to dictate who you're friends with. Like, that's total bullshit.
Yeah. No, there's so much. There's so much drama in college, though. You know, it's just...
You know what's really interesting? So, for me, I've always been heavy. And I felt like I felt that a lot in college, especially in, like, the theater department and the acting. Even though nobody was blatantly like, you are heavy.
Yeah.
Nobody really, like, ever said that to me. But I think that also, like, prevented me from getting roles that I really wanted. Or just getting cast in anything, really. Yeah. Nobody really thought of me for anything. But that summer... the year I graduated, because I was a double major and I was taking like summer classes, I had an internship at an ad agency, and then I realized when I was at the ad agency, like I didn't think about my weight once. So I think that was just really interesting. Like,
it's part of
the theater
It is part of it a little bit, only because when you think of, I don't know, it's interesting, the concept of type.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think it's interesting. I feel like in musical theater, sometimes it's more like type driven. I think that's changed a bit, and people are definitely looking outside the box. Yeah. But, you know, people have visions for what they want, and people are trying to think outside the box and expand their minds. But it's the nature of what we do, you know? Yeah. Unfortunately.
I think it's kind of, and it's funny because this is a topic I feel like that comes up a lot on this podcast is types, and there's like, back when like Facebook like did whatever it did, like I remember posting a quote about Laura Linney said like, never think of yourself as like one type, because people are many different things. But, you know, when I was in college, there was a certain professor who kept telling me, like, oh, you're not going to get cast till you're older. You're not going to get cast till you're older. Because especially when they saw me in the food chain playing, like, a character that was such a far stretch for me, like, 60-something-year-old woman with, like, a Long Island Jewish accent, you know, and that just, like, stuck in his mind, I think, throughout the rest of my Pace career. Because when I auditioned for Summer and Smoke, he had me do something. I'm like, oh, he's thinking of me as this character.
Absolutely. No, that happened to me at Pace as well.
Yeah.
And someone said something to me that really stuck with me in a weird way. And I think that I have had an interesting journey, you know, after Pace professionally.
So let's talk about that really fast. So I feel like we're kind of getting sidetracked. We
yes,
can do a lot on the podcast.
Yes, of course. I can close out the Pace chapter because I don't think I did.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So let me get back to the Pace chapter. Yes. So, you know, that was your experience at Pace. Good, bad. You can cap it off with what you told me when we paused. But after Pace, so like once you graduated, because you did mention this to me, like what did you want to do after Pace? So like with Showcase, did you get an agent? Did you get, like, welcome to my life. Yeah. So like what happened after Pace? Like what was your next step after you graduated? Like what did you do? Were you like, fuck, I need to make money, I'm not pursuing this, or like what happened? Yeah. So talk about what you said and then get into it.
I think actually they're sort of related. So I was saying, as I said, I enjoyed my time at Pace. I am proud to come from that program. When I've seen some shows there that I'm like, holy fucking shit, like wow, they are incredible, and that's great. I didn't fully feel like I had the tools to like move forward. Like I didn't fully know who I was. I didn't feel like I had the material. Like I felt like I just needed to find all new material. Like I didn't leave with a book. I didn't leave, like I wasn't even thrilled with my showcase pieces. People, no, we were given material, but I think this is partially the way that I worked and my own insecurities of not being able to just test things out. And like as I was saying, it's like, especially when I was younger, I would feel so gutturally when something worked and when something didn't and when something resonated with me. Yeah. And it's so strong that sometimes, you know, and I dealt with a lot of this in grad school when I actually had to face myself a few years ago. So again, this is young Tara, Pace Tara, who huge perfectionist, like needs to know the answer, needs to get things right, needs to know how to do things, that I wasn't open to the unknown, that I wasn't open to maybe taking this song and saying, well, they think I mean, I got songs I liked, but like it wasn't working, but I wasn't kind of really investigating why or trying to understand fully what was going on. You know, I don't know if that makes sense. So like I didn't leave feeling like I knew what to do or how to like carry myself. I think being in college in the city is great. Like because even
did you audition for things outside of the program?
A little bit. Well, I did go to a Spring Awakening open call while I was in school and got very far in the process while I was at school.
Oh,
so stuff like that. So I was.
Should have given you a Spring Awakening mug.
I know.
Who were you singing for, Venla?
For Venla. Well, I was called in I was doing summer stock between my junior and senior year, and I was called in for an immediate ensemble replacement. And then they called me in to replace Venla in 2008 during Wild Party. It was crazy.
I can see
that. Which was I was excited. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I think back then I didn't know how to be myself. So that ties into a lot of my 20s and what we're about to talk about. And, I saw Leah Michelle, who played Venla, and I listened to that and I tried, I think, to be her. And that's not me. Yeah. So I did not know how to find the tools. I was trying to use me to be her, but I wasn't able to use myself and what was within me and trust that to actually honestly portray this character.
So do you think a lot of people get stuck? I mean, you did mention this, and you now as like an acting coach and all of that stuff, do you find that a lot of people that you coach are kind of like that?
Not yet, no. I mean, and if they are, I haven't seen it, but also I think a lot of times when that happens, people aren't even aware until after the fact. It was kind of like what I said about the recording thing. Our ears are incredible things. And I even had an epiphany a few years ago. I learned this technique in grad school called text transfusion, where you to learn things by heart, to memorize, and it's it's more physical. You learn on your feet. You're learning with a recording, and it's been so incredible for me because I realized as I was in school that subconsciously, not that I was really seeing the page while I was performing or acting, but it was in my head, the text, because when you memorize off a page, our brains take that in. They take the image in of the words. So like even how it was on the page, that's how I was memorizing it. If one, word was at the end of a line, or, sometimes playwrights obviously write things, in certain stanzas and whatnot, but still, you need to find what's in yourself. You need to decide what you want to take from the text and what you want to kind of throw away if it's appropriate,
Okay, that's what's called acting.
Yes, I have lots of feelings.
It's interesting too, because I haven't performed in like over 10 years.
Wow.
And I know, it's hard to believe because I'm so talented. But it's interesting too, because I like to think like over the years of just like kind of sitting around my apartment and like wanting to pursue it and just like not doing anything. And I feel like for myself, I've kind of taught like myself like how to I've become my own like acting teacher in a way. And just from like my theater nerd knowledge and like my entertainment knowledge that I have and all that, I think a lot of what you're saying is true. If I'm like reading a play in my apartment aloud, it's like, how would this person act like this? How would I act like this as the character? And So I do like a lot of self-acting in the apartment. It's really sad. No. Even with like songs too, sometimes you have to like break down the song or just like read the song without the music. And how would you do it? Like I have I love Waitress. I really do. I sing too. She Used to Be Mine in the shower.
I love that song. My boyfriend's actually obsessed with that song. He wrote his own rendition, like his own lyrics to it. Yes.
I need to see this video on YouTube, guys.
I don't know if it ever will be. It's very personal.
Yeah.
Yes.
But no, it's also a matter of like, how would you break down the song? And I like do that in the shower too.
Yeah.
And yes, I have cried in the shower while singing that
haven't
song.
We all? No.
Right? I mean, I cry just listening or singing Light in the Piazza. But
I've used She Used to Be Mine as part of my warm-up when I did Uncle Vanya in grad school. I don't know why, but it was part of it.
I printed out sheet music for Waitress for like the last time I had a voice lesson, and I was like, Bacon can do. There's no way I can sing She Used to Be Mine. And like the guy who I was like training with, he's like, no, you sing She Used to Be Mine like so much better. I was like, really?
That's great.
It's like, awesome.
Yeah. It's in a different key than in the show than Sarah Bareilles had on her album. It's slightly higher.
Yes. I am well aware of that.
Just slightly.
Yeah.
Should we go back to what you had
Yes,
asked?
because we get sidetracked and I talk about myself all the time.
No, as you should. This is your podcast.
Yes, guys. Welcome to it.
As you should.
Anyway, so you feel like you didn't really have like. So what did you do after college?
Yes,
then?
I will tell you.
Please do. Tell the kids at home.
Tell the kids at home.
What you're doing, Roger.
So right after I graduated, I was at the Weston Playhouse in Vermont. So I was part of their young company, which was an incredible summer. There were 8 of us? 8 of us? Or 6 of us? Maybe 6 of us.
There was an even number of people.
And they did Lighten the Piazza that summer. Adam Gettle was involved. He actually condensed the show. And was very much involved. And
were you in the ensemble?
I was in Les Mis, and in that time professionally, and I played the factory girl, who is a very exciting role.
She's the one who calls out Fontaine, right?
Yes, it was good times.
I know Les Mis. I don't know Les Mis.
Yeah,
I did my first show was Les Mis when I was 5, and for years I would
my first
say,
too.
You never take a 5-year-old to Les Mis, and my mom's after years, she's you need to get over it.
That's so. I think I fell asleep when I went with junior high school in the balcony. Because I was just tired and not as immersed in. I may have been 9. I don't know.
Well, I took my mom to the revival that they did because I won tickets through work, and I sent her a photo of Ramin Karamalou or whatever his name is.
Did I see
of him ripped shirt open, and she goes, "Hello."
Hello. That's great.
So it was cool. I had no idea Will Swenson can sing like that.
I love him. He is fantastic. He's one of my.
They're doing. I don't know if they've done it already, but they're doing a site-specific fun home.
Oh, I saw that.
And he's playing Bruce. I
saw
believe,
that.
And they're doing it
what do you mean site-specific?
They're doing it in a funeral home.
Oh. Yeah. That's it. Okay.
And they announced that Jake Gyllenhaal is doing the movie, and he's playing Bruce.
I think I saw that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think he'll be great. I thought he was. I personally, and I've said this many times, I like him better on stage than in film.
I've never seen him on stage.
He's extra. Go to London.
Yeah.
What
is he doing?
He's doing Sunday in the Park.
Oh, yes. Right.
I had guests the other day when I was working at the hotel. I work at hotels, guys.
I didn't know it. You're going to have to tell me after what you do.
We'll chat after.
Yeah. Okay.
We're not going to talk about that many personal things on here, guys. But I had guests who were theater nerds like I am from London, and at one point I stopped in the middle of our conversation because it just came to me. I'm get yourself tickets to see Sunday in the Park.
You saw him here?
I saw him at City Center. And then I saw it on Broadway, and I wish I saw it again. And I can only just imagine how much better him and Annalie Ashford are because they've lived with the characters now for a year or two. Yeah. And I may or may not have it on bootleg. And 2 different audio bootlegs. We'll talk.
Okay. So I was in Vermont.
Yes.
And it was great. And we did a kids show. We did a cabaret at night. It was a wonderful summer. So the 2 summers. The summer between my junior and senior year, I did summer stock, and then I had an internship lined up at Telsey Casting right after. So I had all these plans. So I didn't need to worry about anything or think about anything. Yeah. I was living with my parents, which was an interesting thing throughout all of my 20s. I was in and out of their house a lot, which when I was doing, in 2015, I had 3 back-to-back regional theater jobs, which was wonderful, and when I got my equity card. But it was a blessing that I didn't have to sublet a place, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time,
you're living with your parents.
Yeah, it was interesting. And I think, I've said that sometimes I think people that move to New York at 18, even if their parents are paying for everything, they still have to fend for themselves in a way that, I'm a native New Yorker, but I still think I grew up later in some ways because of my parents being here. So, I didn't have to worry about finding an apartment. I was always working. Even throughout college, I would hostess. I did coat check and stuff like that.
I kind of remember that.
Yeah, so I was never, even though, I lived at home, I just wanted to, work and have money.
You have to hustle.
Yes.
You always say survival jobs, but there's always for me that's probably why I didn't really pursue it that much is because when I graduated I just started working my current job now is my first legitimate full-time job that I've been at the longest at, but I sold salon promotions on the street. I ushered at off-Broadway theaters. I sold merch for many years. I had temp jobs. I was always working to make money because at the end of the day, even if your parents are supporting you a little bit, you still have to find a way to be financially stable.
Yes.
And even if you want to pursue this career, and Stefan, if you've listened to that podcast, he's even mentioned if you get a temp job, call out sick one day. If you got to go to an audition, how the fuck are they gonna know?
Right. Well, and the thing that's really interesting, I know we're sidetracking, but I have to say this.
We sidetrack all the time.
And we will get back on track. The lifestyle is complicated and it's hard and different things work for different people. And there was something that I realized, I think when I was about 28, because you know, I spent years, and I still do some brand ambassador work, which I'm trying to get out of, but, you know, it's tough. I spent years waitressing, bartending, promotions, whatever, a lot of various things. But I was like, this isn't working for me. Like, why do I have friends that, you know, can waitress till 2 a.m. and wake up for an open call? And I realized something, that it's really hard to hustle in the place you've grown up. So I think for me, and this might not be true for all native New Yorkers that are artists, so I'm just speaking for me. This is my comfort. It's not always comfortable, but this is my home. This is my home. I didn't come to New York to be an actor. I was just here, right? So if I stopped acting, and I would be here, you know, I probably wouldn't leave New York anyway, but you know what I mean? Like, this is my home. So I grew up seeing my parents have art in their their background, but my dad is a business owner. I grew up seeing people go to work, come home, my neighbors, blah, blah, blah. And that's what I know in this city. So it was hard for me. And once I finally accepted that, I think I've started understanding what was going on inside of me and what more of what I needed. But this lifestyle is really hard, and different things work for different people, and it's hard not to compare yourself to others and say, why is this person able to do this and this, or what is that person doing that they're able to you know, work all the time and still somehow pay their rent, and like but everybody's circumstances are different, you know, and you don't, you know, in social media, I mean, that has made things tough.
If I ever want to feel bad about myself, I will go on Facebook,
social media,
and I will look at people from high school, and I'll be like,
but they post what they want you to see. They post what they're comfortable with other people seeing. I mean, there are some people that overshare that I don't need to know your life to that extent.
Like, there was somebody who was like freezing their eggs to make money.
Wow.
And they were like posting about it. And I was like, I don't need to know that.
But that's what I mean. But still, they're choosing to share that. So we see what people want us to see, and it's so hard not to get completely like obsessed or be affected by it, because it's there. Yeah. You know, I have a lot of fucking issues, and you know, I don't share them. I don't think I'm like hunky-dory on social media. I try to be truthful, but I'm somewhat private, and also, why do I want to burden anyone with like my shit? Like, I've had so many injuries throughout my 20s that no one would know because I don't talk about it on social media.
I also don't like, personally, if we're going to talk about like social media now, a majority of the stuff that I post on like Facebook, it's like about theater, because, you know, for me, I'm like, I don't want people knowing my business, but I don't mind like knowing other people's business because I'm like that. But also, like, I'm private on Instagram, so I post more stuff probably on Instagram than I do on Facebook, even though if you're not friends with me on Facebook, you can't see a fucking thing on my Facebook.
Right, there's settings. Well, and then the tough thing is, as an actor,
you can't even search, like, if you Google me, my Facebook does not come up.
But as an actor, sometimes it's actually hard, because you have to find the balance, because my Instagram can, like, God, people...
On a total side note, guys, at Theater Enthusiast Podcast, please follow. It's theater with an ER, because that's what it is. So follow along. I post stuff on there. It's just my own personal one is private.
Well, but what I'm saying, exactly. So you're using that as a platform for your podcast. Yeah. As of right now, you know, my Instagram is like kind of a mix of professional and personal. But like, but even on Facebook, like, I've seen auditions there. I've gotten tickets for things because of Facebook and groups I'm in, alumni groups I'm in, and so it's like hard to find the balance.
What you could do is that if you have your own personal Instagram, you can make another Instagram for your professional acting.
I know, and I think once I start building up my coaching a bit more, which we can get into, I'm going to do that for that. Yeah. But the actor person is like my, you know, I think that's me, and I like the balance of that. But still, you know what I mean? People sometimes ask for your handles. People sometimes look at Instagram before my website. Yeah. Like, I have a website for that.
Yeah, I think that's the thing now, too, because I've also mentioned it in podcasts in the past with people. It's like, how important do you think social media now plays in, like, getting cast in something? Because, you know, if you look at a lot of bios in the playbills, a lot of people will have their handle at their Instagram or their whatever. Sometimes they'll have their website up. And somebody told me, I don't know if this is true or not, I don't remember who told me, where I heard it, but they said, you know, sometimes casting directors look at your Instagram to look at your followers.
I thought that was only happening in, like, the film industry, because I've heard a lot, but I had a friend that told me, even for a regional theater job, he knew somebody or knew the casting, they couldn't decide between 2 actors, and they chose someone with more followers. Even for regional theater, it's just crazy.
And there's also, like, some actors I follow on Instagram, like, who don't have as many followers as, like, somebody else. And at the same time, it's like, how the hell do you get, like, this many followers? You know, I don't get it.
There's strategies,
I have, like, 38 followers on my podcast.
Well, hopefully you'll have more. I'm going to promote it. Yay.
Yes. Tara Novie, guys.
Anyway, back on track, right. So after Pace. So I interned at Telsey, which was very eye-opening. I've always been interested in casting. I love casting. I love casting. And I
had the best time casting the show. I directed my senior year.
What'd you direct?
How I Learned to Drive.
Oh, cool.
Which I'm, like, pissing my pants.
I want to go see it. Yeah.
Oh, it's, like, everybody who knows me, like...
Yeah, that's great.
Like, it's been almost 11 years later, and I'm still talking about it, which is a problem. I may or may not... I think I still have my, like, binder, my directing binder that I carried around with me.
That's great.
But you know what it was, too? Is, like... And I've mentioned this in previous podcasts. Sorry, guys, but I mentioned I had a really tough senior year, and it was and a large part of it was just trying to put up a show that I wanted to direct. Because I would. Sorry, my mother just texted me, guys. That's what that ding was. Okay, she's telling me about plastic bags.
Oh yes, tomorrow.
Yes. So I'm like, how am I gonna, like, use plastic bags for my garbage in the bathroom? I know.
Honestly, that's what I've been thinking too. I just bought reusable bags for shopping, but
I don't mind
my
paper
garbage.
Bag.
Yeah, but you're gonna have to pay 5 cents.
It's 5 cents.
I go shopping and, like, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting.
5 cents is nothing.
Yeah, but it adds up. Well, sorry, you have a full-time job. You're not.
Believe me, it's not. It's not anything exciting.
No, but still, I'm joking.
But anyway, getting back to How I Learned to Drive. What were we talking about? Yeah, so...
Casting.
Yes, casting. I had the best time casting that show. And I like to think that I can cast things very well. Like, we've played games on here before, like Cast It or Cast Me, where I've, like, casted, like, revivals of shows or, like, movie musicals and stuff, like, in my head. I mean, granted, I'm in a large majority of them in my head. Like, I will play Nellie Forbush in the South Pacific movie starring Jake Gyllenhaal as Lieutenant Joe Cable. But this is also, like, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
If it was, like, 10 years ago, he would be, like, a great Cable. Like, Jack Black would be a great Luther Billis, but now maybe James Corden.
Right. I mean, times change. No, I love casting. And I for some reason, I've had this idea in my head, even though I do believe it's true, that it's really hard to cast if you pursue acting. Yeah. Because, you know, you just kind of can't. Though I talked to somebody while I was trying to get internships during grad school during the summer that was like, that's not true, who worked for, like, the New Group or something, but I still think it's true.
Well, there is somebody who I know that I don't want to, like, name drop in the podcast because I don't know if they would want me to say their name in reference to this, but they worked for, like, a casting agency or, like, an agency or something. I think maybe, like, an actual, like, agent. And they are also an actor. And they're like, you know, it's kind of hard to do it when, like, you're up against these people and you're putting them in for that, and that's something you might want to do.
Right. I also think
And then I've had family members be like, well, why don't you, like, become an agent? And I was like, no, because then I would want to do that job.
I think that if you actually, you know, full on pursue being a casting director or an agent, more casting director, you have to... I think it would be hard. Like, I would need to not want to act anymore. Like, really, you know, but...
or cast a show that you don't want to be in.
Right. But what was interesting when I was in the room... So, Telsey was really interesting. It was full-time for 4 months, maybe? Maybe 6 months. Yeah, I think 6 months. And there were times I got to go in the room. And it was eye-opening for me because, you know, they were for appointments, I think, or EPAs. Equity principal auditions, for those that don't know what that means. They're required. They're complicated. I don't need to get into them. Yeah. But I would feel very different than the casting director. And I knew it because they would, you know, make a comment or put them in a pile. And I felt nothing from the person. And I was like, there you go. It is so subjective. And it's so hard to stomach that or to really believe that because what could you have done different in the room, blah, blah, blah. But
do you think it also depends on material that people pick?
Well, yeah, yes. That's why, you know, picking material that serves you. Being good at picking material is really important, especially for the actual piece you're going in for.
I don't mean to, like, harbor on college, because when I had somebody on the last podcast, I realized that a large majority of what I talk about is my time in college, because that's all I have theater-wise with, like, pursuing it. But and I've mentioned this before in the podcast, one of my favorite plays is Proof. Somebody came in to audition for me for How I Learned to Drive with a monologue from Proof. There is no monologue in Proof.
Is there not?
There's no monologue in Proof.
Oh, interesting. I know the play, but not that well.
Yeah.
To know that.
I mean, like, if there is, it's, like, not a minute long.
Well, so what did they do?
They cut people's lines out.
I honestly think that's very smart sometimes.
No, sometimes...
As long as it's done well. I've done that a lot of times.
No, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I think the fact that she's like, oh, I'm doing something from Proof, and I said, oh, that's my favorite play, didn't really work in that person's favor.
Right, and you just never know.
Yeah. I will say that I was not a cruel person when casting, but I was just like, for me personally, like, that didn't work.
Right, well, that's why.
Because if you're, like, piecing... Sorry to, like, interrupt you. But if it was, like, a conversation you and I are having...
Yes.
As opposed to, like, it being a paragraph and then cutting out a line and followed by another paragraph...
Yes.
That's fine. But if you're cutting out, like,
absolutely.
people's sentences...
Yes, that you can't
to
do
make
that.
a monologue, I think that's what
unless
that person did.
Unless it's actually, you know... Unless it makes sense, but majority of the time it won't.
The person didn't get cast.
Yes, that's fine. But yes, I think, you know, picking good material is a skill, or get help if you.
Yeah.
But you know, sometimes it's complicated because in this business, a lot of times you're expected to just have your like core things and be able to just do them for any auditions, which has always been a tough one for me. Yeah. I don't need to get into that unless I do. But
you can if you want to.
I was just, you know, I like preparing for specific auditions when people give me material. I love that.
Yeah.
Because then I can really, you know,
have you ever been to auditions where like people give you the material to prep and you prep it and then you go in and they're like, oh hey, by the way, do this?
Occasional cold reads, and even songs, but honestly, sometimes I prefer that because they know they just gave it to me, and then I can show my skill at how quickly I learn. Especially with music, I'm very quick with music. Look
at Tara, like, dropping the mic. Not like an actual mic, guys.
I'm trying to get better at, you know, self-praise, because I'm not always good at that.
You, as, like, mama bear to many people, like, you need to be better with it. I know that I'm fucking fantastic. I say it to myself all the time.
Yes.
Maybe it's overconfidence, but
that's okay.
Yeah,
it works for you. But
so let's move on.
Oh yes,
because so after Pace, you were with Telsey.
Yes, I was at Telsey for
6 months.
6 months, and then I think it was 2009. March happened, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, what is my life? I don't know what to do. And it's funny, after grad school, I knew how I might feel, so it wasn't the same, even though it was like 11 years later, but still. I freaked out. I really did. I was like, I don't know how to live. And I like knowing, as I said. Though, why am I doing this then? Why am I choosing this path if I like knowing? So I think at the time...
I just realized who you look like to me.
Who?
I have a cousin named Barry.
Oh.
And if she and Leah Michelle had a love child, it would be you.
You know, it's funny. Sometimes I thought that that's the reason why I didn't get the ensemble replacement, because I kind of resemble her, and to be on stage with her would be weird. I don't know. That's what I thought.
If it makes you feel any better, when I was like 20, 30 pounds skinnier, somebody, like, I had 2 different people like, you look like Leah Michelle. And I'm like, I think you're wrong. Thank you.
Yeah. No, she's beautiful.
Yeah.
And so I think that summer, I was just like, all right, I'm going to try to audition. I didn't have representation. I was living at home. And, I was like, I'm going to follow this musical theater path. And then that summer, I started waitressing a bit. And then I booked a job. I booked Rent at the Engelman Theater in Northport, Long Island. I was in the ensemble, and I played Mimi's understudy. And I got to go on once, which was terrifying, but thrilling, because we didn't really rehearse. But I knew my shit, because I practiced at home,
because
too.
it's Tara, and she knows her shit.
Yeah, and it's me.
Hey guys, we're back. We took another quick break. This is like the most breaks I've ever taken in a podcast.
Well, we're drinking water.
We're ladies. We needed a bathroom break.
Yes, bathroom break.
So Tara knows her shit when she was performing as Mimi.
I actually got to play the role like 5 years later, at the Gallery Players in Brooklyn. So it was all mine that time.
You want to hear something really funny? And it just popped into my head. Somebody who was like a theater or musical theater major when I was a freshman, I remember her coming into my English class, like, dressed a certain way. And she's like, I just came back from, like, an audition for Rent. And she said to me, she's like, you can play Mimi. I'm like, yeah, like a white pasty Jew from Long Island. Like, no.
Oh my God.
But I was very flattered because I do love that song Without You.
Yeah, I love that song too. Yeah, no, it was, so that was my first professional job after college. And, you know, every year was different after that, you know, it was exciting. And it's funny, that was the last, so those were the last EMC points I think I got. I just worked non-union. That's equity membership candidate. You get points towards getting your card. And then...
Do you have your equity card now?
I do. I got it in 2015.
Do you think... So, I just remember, like, graduating or, like, in the midst of graduation or whatever, a lot of people were talking the difference between, like, having your equity card and your non-equity card and what would be better for auditioning and getting parts.
Well, if you... I don't think... It's funny. I think it depends on the person. I think it's important... I don't think everybody should have their equity card right away because their resume might not support that. But also now there's so much opportunity for non-ec, especially if you're like a dancer, ensemble. All these non-union tours are out. It's funny. I haven't even worked. I haven't worked an equity contract since I got my card. I've done like readings and certain things that were, you know, showcase code. So technically I have, but I could have been non-ec for that. But I did go to grad school, so whatever. But it's hard. There's a different level of competition. But when I got my card, I was ready for that next step. Like I thought my resume supported my skill and what I could offer, and yeah. So.
What did you play in company in college? Total side note.
I played Marta.
Another
100 people. That song is so
now
hard.
I remember.
That's right in my break.
I totally remember that now.
I was on a scooter. Did you know that?
I didn't see that.
I had to ride in on a scooter. I was like, Trey, really? So I remember I practiced. I did this a lot for another show I did. But I would try to run on the treadmill and sing that song. That's what my voice teacher said I should do.
You know how I learned about doing that was from the Search for the Next Elle Woods on MTV. And I did Dog Sees God, Confessions of a Teenage Blockhead, like first semester of senior year, and I played CB Sister.
I think I saw that.
Did you go back to Pace for it?
I feel like I saw it.
I was very good in that. Anyway, so again, tooting up my own horn.
As you should.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kissing my own ass, guys. But no, the reason I say that is because I had to do this very physical monologue on the show, and I am, like, not in the best shape, but then I realized, like, and I... claustrophobic, took me a very long time to like take an elevator, which I feel like everybody knew me that I took the stairs up to like the 12th
I remember
floor.
that. Oh
yeah, I had a great ass, guys.
Oh my god.
But so
do you take elevators now?
Yes. Wow. I had to get over it because I temped at a fragrance company that was on like the 18th floor of the building, so I'm like I kind of had to.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm like, if the elevator's taking forever, I'll take the stairs down. Yeah. I should be better with like, you know, physical activity more. I mean, I worked out before you came here. I've been better, but I'm like, maybe I'll take the stairs tomorrow. Yeah. Maybe I'll do that later. Anyway, but when I would walk up the stairs to my apartment, I lived on the 8th floor of this building senior year with like 2 other people. I would do the monologue while walking up the stairs. Yeah. So when it came time to doing the show, I wasn't like jumping around and being out of breath talking about wanting to be a platypus. Yeah.
No, exactly. Yeah. It's hard. Yeah. That song too is really hard because it lives like right in my personal break, like where my voice kind of shifts to like the more mixier head voice. So that was hard. But yes, I played Marta.
Yes, I don't know that people.
But now there's boyfriends in the revival.
I know.
It's so
I'm so excited about it.
I'm so excited.
I just like. I'm worried about Katrina Lang's voice with it.
I love her. She's so
me too.
Good.
She's so hot.
They probably transposed.
Maybe.
No?
I hope so.
Maybe.
I heard her sing the Sondheim song and I was like, I don't know, guys.
Really?
Yeah, but I'm also like very cynical sometimes. Like most of the time I'm not. But I really love Company. And I don't know it as well as other people do, but I just remember seeing like the revival of it that they last did with Raul Esparza.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I have like the cast album from that, and I just like remember in college like really, and I sing Being Alive in the shower.
Yeah,
I fucking love Marry Me a Little.
I love that song, Being Alive.
I think Marry Me a Little is like a very underrated song compared to Being Alive.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a great song. Just anything Sondheim. You know why? Because he's the actor's musical theater writer. He writes stories. He writes songs with stories, and it's a gift as an actor to be able to sing one of his songs because you can analyze that text or work through the text in a very specific way that you can't do for all composers, and everybody has a different style, but I just love the opportunity to do that. And I also like, recitative, like speak singing, and a lot of his things, you don't have to be an exquisite singer to do Sondheim all the time, because you're actually like saying words.
Like Jake Gyllenhaal. Although I thought he was great. It's interesting too, because I saw him in City Center and then on Broadway, and I was like, oh, we got voice lessons.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. To me, he sounded a little like Mandy Patinkin-ish. But that's just my own thing. Like, I'm like currently obsessed with like Harry Styles. Mostly he's just like super hot. I'm like,
I feel like a lot of people are.
I'm on like such a Harry Styles kick right now. He's just like really nice to look at, but I've listened to his album.
Isn't he like 20?
He's 26.
Oh.
I'm
older than I thought.
Yeah. And it's funny. You know what's funny? Like, I don't know like any I know like 2 One Direction songs, and I just remember when they were out, I'm like, oh, I like that guy because he looks like the guy from Downton Abbey. And I knew who Harry Styles was because he dated Taylor Swift.
Oh,
Other than that, I didn't really like. But that was also like after our time. Like, we weren't.
No, exactly.
Our generation was like Backstreet Boys and
NSYNC. Yes.
I was also
98 Degrees, kind of, but they were.
I was also a huge O-Town fan.
Wait.
Like,
I was thinking of Together the other day. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I posted.
Calculus.
My last Instagram, on my personal Instagram account, I did a Throwback Thursday, and I posted a photo of Together.
I love them, and he died. Cutie.
I know. And they did like a benefit concert like 10 years ago or something.
I love Together. Yeah. I like had the album. I would listen to it.
Me too. I would always say to myself, like, if I'm ever famous enough to be on Jimmy Fallon and do lip sync battle, like, what songs would I do? And like one of the songs like in my head that I would do is Calculus by Together.
So good.
Yeah.
It was a good album. There were other songs on it that were good. I put it on my Spotify like a few weeks ago
They had 2 albums out.
Yes.
And I had both of them.
Yeah, I did too.
And then they're like music video for like the first. I have them in my apartment somewhere. I remember the first song off their new album, they did a making of the video, and they did like a TRL thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Memories. Yes.
The 90s, they were a good time.
Yeah. Anyway, getting back to like H Styles.
Yes.
So like, this is where the other things part of the podcast comes into play, guys. There's like 2 albums on his songs, and they're really good. And one of them kind of is like a little Beatlesy to me with like the music, how like later on Beatles. And there's this band that John Gallagher Jr.
I love him. I was just watching him in Modern Love the other day.
I love John Gallagher.
I love him too.
Yeah, I'll tell you my John Gallagher stories later. It's kind of bad.
He's such a good actor.
He really is. But I will say though, I didn't love him in Long Day's Journey and Tonight.
I didn't see that.
I feel like he was a little too modern for the show. But he's doing a musical in California.
I saw the Avett Brothers one.
Yeah, he's also a huge Avett Brothers fan.
That works.
And I know this because I saw him at one of their concerts, and I went there because I thought I would see him.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
I know. Well, that was like when I was in college and didn't know what my life was.
Do we ever really know what our life is, though?
Do we now know what
I mean, I don't think I know.
I mean, I'm a lady of a certain... It's funny because I'm
a lady of a certain age.
I've turned this year. And I feel like as soon as I turned 4, I was like, wow, I feel like a lot of the things I've been saying to people and things in my head, I'm like, wow, I'm feeling like an adult. And I was
I know. I'm giving advice these days. It's like
there's this girl who I work with at a hotel, and I felt like such a Wendy Williams moment. Like, girl has to be like this, and she was having issues with a guy friend of hers, and we don't have to get into it because it's not my business to tell this person's business. And I pretty much gave her life advice, and I straight up told her, I'm like, this is what you need to say to the person, and you have to be prepared for this person not to be your friend anymore. And the person like never responded, or he responded, and I said, like, you know what, honestly, like, you have to stop being so upset about it, because you did everything that you could do to try to make the situation better, and he's just not accepting it or whatever. Yeah. So there's like, what does he want from you? Like, your firstborn child? Like, you shouldn't worry about it anymore. Like, you have to move on.
Yeah. Well, and if that was her honest choice and need at the time, then we can't control what other people think about us.
And it was like a silly situation that shouldn't have happened, but she wasn't thinking, and and she apologized as much as she could. And I'm like, you apologize. Like, what else does he want from you? Like, clearly he's upset. He might take a while to get over it. He might not. Like, you have to, like, let it go and let him come to you, because you can't just be like, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so what were we talking about? Oh,
Harry Styles?
John Gallagher.
Oh.
Yeah, so there's also, he was in this band called Old Springs Pike
Mm-hmm.
when he was in, like, Spring Awakening. And then he left the band, and the band is now called the Spring Standards. And if you don't know who they are, I don't know if they're, like, together as much as they were years ago.
I don't know who
but
they
they're
are.
a really good band. It's kind of like a folky band. And he has a song on there that legitimately could be one of their songs. I don't know how the Harry Styles thing came up, but that's my
how
thoughts.
did that came up?
I don't know, but you know what? I had to say it to someone. I said it to my friend last night.
That's fine. I'm all good hearing about Harry Styles.
So let's like move on.
Okay.
I mean, we can just talk about like how beautiful he is. I
don't
figured
really
out
have
how
an
to do like a
opinion on
Harry
him.
Styles dance.
Yeah, I don't know much.
I did post on my on my Theater Enthusiast podcast. Follow at Theater Enthusiast podcast on Instagram. I did post one of my the post before yours was. This is me with casting in my head. I said 7 to 10 years. Harry Styles is Guy in the revival of Once, and I think I saw that. I strongly stand by that.
Cool.
100%.
I don't know that show that well. I wish I did. I haven't seen the film.
It's one of my absolute favorites.
Yeah, I need to.
I will. It's not a musical for everybody.
Yeah.
And I always tell this when I talk to guests at the hotel or just like even people in life, like. Just because I didn't like something, I mean, I didn't really love Beautiful, but that doesn't mean, like, you're not going to like it. You know what I mean?
It doesn't. I love Beautiful.
Yeah, everybody has their thing, you know? Yes. I called it the poor man's Jersey Boys, but that's just my feelings. Not saying Carole King was bad. It's like, I didn't love the show. And it had absolutely nothing to do with the music. It had nothing to do with the cast. It had nothing, it just wasn't, I'm not a huge fan of In the Heights. And people think I'm crazy for that. You know, but, there's a lot of people who aren't a fan of the musical Once, and I fucking love Once. There's not a lot of people who are fans of Natasha Pierre and the Great Comet of 1812, but that's one of my all-time favorites of all time, you know, so everybody has their own thing.
That's the beauty of this life. Like,
exactly.
We can't all agree.
So let's fast forward.
Yes.
So I feel like, because we've been talking a lot about your life, like, what do I do with my life outside of college, and we've been taking breaks, so I feel like we've been here for 5 years, but I'm not saying it's a bad thing. So... what made you decide to go to grad school?
Yes. Okay. Okay. So, a few things. It's funny. So I never thought I'd go to grad school ever. Part of me, there was one point in my 20s where I was like, maybe I'll go to grad school. But I had never thought about going for acting because I was like, what is that going to do for me? Like, but really, I was like, I'm going to be in debt, and I don't know if there's a payoff, right? So I was considering music education because I was like, I could teach music, maybe, blah, blah.
I have a friend who went to graduate school for theater education.
Yeah, but for music specifically. Yeah. And then I think a few things happened. I think in 2015, I had some really incredible theater jobs that I think really grounded me in a different way in my craft in my craft as it was then. One of those things was doing hair at Playhouse on Park. The director there, Sean Harris, who is still one of my best friends to date, I had never worked with a director.
I'd also just like to put out there, like, I'm available to be cast in shows as well. Just saying. Or if you want me to direct something. Dominic LaRuffo was on last podcast. Yeah. And we talked about him wanting to do Bug, and I said, I will totally direct you in Bug.
That's awesome.
I did not see their production of Bug in college because I know what
did they do Bug?
Well, that was...
That's Tracy Letts,
right?
Letts,
who's doing the minutes now
on
Broadway, which I have to see with Carole King herself, Jesse Mueller, and Armie Hammer.
Yes.
But I didn't see Bug in college because I know what the show is, and it's like a little bit of I can't speak English apparently. It's a little bit of a thriller, and that's not really like the genre I usually like sit and watch and be suspenseful. But I mean, I'll direct it.
Yeah. So I hadn't worked with a director yet that I think really got me and allowed me to like explore the character in myself, but also gave me the confidence to do that, and like really cared about the acting so much because sometimes...
Is this person an actor?
He was. He still is occasionally. He's a teacher. He's the artistic director of Playhouse on Park and teaches at a private school.
Playhouse on Park?
In West Hartford, Connecticut.
Okay.
He's a director, he casts for them, and was an actor / occasionally still, but he's a teacher. But I think I started to... That was like the beginning of my self-trust. And then even when I came back from all my theater jobs, I was still like, what's next? Oh, life, blah, blah, blah. And then I actually met my boyfriend at the beginning of 2016. And it's interesting when you...
And they're adorable together, by the way. I've never met him, but I've seen the photos.
Yes, he's a wonderful, wonderful person.
Is he also an actor?
He was. He occasionally does it still, but he originally moved here for the publishing industry. He's been writing again, and he is in the mixology field. So he teaches classes and consults, and
cool.
We live weird lives. So when I met him, it was interesting because we were talking before. I can't remember if we were on the air for this, but when you're in a healthy, when you're in a healthy relationship, I think that you change, but for the better. But that person inspires you to like better yourself, right? Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like I got in this relationship and I was like, oh my God, I have a partner now, and let's just be together and like fuck my life and my career. I was like, what is my life? What is my career?
Yeah.
And I was doing all this brand ambassador stuff and not really auditioning as much because we had moved in together at a certain point, and I was like, I got to pay rent now because I was living with my parents on and off. And then I don't know, it was something, I think because first of all, I never really got the acting education I wanted, as we've been talking about. Mm-hmm. I was always trying to do it, I didn't get into LaGuardia for that.
Did you think about taking acting classes?
I did a Meisner intensive at one point in 2011, which was, the repetition stuff was hard for me because of like certain obsessive tendencies I have and like finding the perfect task. It like gave me migraines. I like Meisner in a certain respect regarding listening and responding, but it was just a 6-week thing. But I always knew, and I also know that I am better in focused environments when it's like all inclusive, all or nothing. Mm-hmm. So I was like, even if I went to a studio, I would still have to work, and I don't know if, So I never got in the acting education I wanted. I also knew that, if I don't perform forever, mm-hmm. or if I don't pursue it, I want to work in the theater no matter what. Mm-hmm. So
that's why I wanted Tara on the podcast, guys, because as we all know what the podcast is, and I've mentioned in the past, like, that's why I'm so happy you're on this podcast.
Yeah, I'm really happy to be here. Thank you for asking me.
And it's like a reunion. Tara
yes.
and I seen each other in like 10 years.
I know.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Wow.
You look exactly the same.
Oh, you do too, though.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I moisturize.
Yes, I try to take care of my skin.
I always say I look better with age anyway.
I think so.
I didn't look this good in college.
You look great. You did then too. But, so...
She's so good, guys. I'm trying to keep her around.
Stop.
Tara, you're
oh my God. So... Wait, what was I saying?
We were talking about graduate school.
Yes. So if I wasn't going to perform, I knew that I wanted to work in theater. I wasn't completely sure in what capacity, because I had thought of administrative stuff. I was interested in casting. I was interested in this. I was also having trouble in musical theater. Mm-hmm. And it was funny because for a while I think I blamed musical theater because I was like, I can't find my place. I was like, people don't know what to do with me. I am ethnically ambiguous, which is actually, people are always like, oh, that's such a good thing. And I was like, I don't know. I've had trouble because people really don't know where to put me. Mm-hmm. And I look very young, but as I'm getting older, I have a more mature energy. And they're also casting people that are actually the age for these things, right? Yeah. And so I was really having trouble finding my place. And I think I was just fed up with the business. So I was like, I want to study acting. Now that I look back at it, I love musical theater. I really do. I love the art form of it. I love storytelling through song. I think it's so important and exciting, and there's nothing like it. When it's done like raw and authentic and honest, and it's just incredible. You feel through your whole body, right?
Yeah.
When you're watching, when you're doing it, whatever. But I think as I went to grad school, as I continued my grad school experience, I think what I realized was that I was ready to actually face myself, and I hadn't done that. I wasn't ready yet, and so maybe I was blaming musical theater, but I still think I needed a break. I still think I needed some space from just life. Yeah. I think I needed to buckle down and study and kind of get some more tools in my tool belt. I really had always wanted to get a solid acting education. I never did.
So where did you go to graduate school?
At Brooklyn College here in the city.
What made you decide Brooklyn College?
So it was interesting. I feel like this happens to me a lot where like sometimes the decision is made for me, which is okay. I originally thought that I needed to leave New York. I was literally like, I thought it was the city. in TJ, my boyfriend, and I had talked about it. I was like, well, I'm going to try to leave for grad school. He was very supportive. And we're like, we'll try to make it work. And most of those programs are 3 years.
Mm-hmm. How long is the Brooklyn one?
2. So, but it's like literally full. You're only in class for, the semesters, but I was having summer and winter assignments. I had to write a thesis. That's a whole nother. Wow. Yes, people don't usually think, like, I should have an MA too. Like, yeah. I became a better writer. But I was originally thinking, I gotta go. I think it's New York. Like, I love this place, but I'm really struggling here. And so I only applied to schools that were not here. I didn't apply to one school here.
Can I ask where you applied?
Oh, God. And I tried to apply to places that were free rides, too, because I was like, I don't want to be in debt. I applied to UCSD, FSU, Yale. I was aiming for the sky.
Please, if I ever were to go back, I would apply for Juilliard.
Yes, you got to do it, right?
Yeah.
USC.
Somebody who I actually put in How I Learned to Drive is Emma Facier at Columbia.
Oh, wow.
But she's also, like, disgustingly talented.
Yeah.
And, but like, you know what, even when she was a freshman, you knew.
But I also think a name is just a name sometimes. And, so and it's funny because I can say to myself, oh, my God, I didn't get in all those schools. And, like, the natural me, honestly, is, like, of course I didn't get in. And, like, Brooklyn College was the perfect place for me. Mm-hmm. And maybe I can't get into those name schools. But I don't think... There's so many factors these days that doesn't always even have to do with just talent. Mm-hmm. There's statistics that they have to offer to certain groups. Or maybe I'm just not right for their program. Yeah. The older I've gotten and the more rooms I've been in, everything is energy. And it's been tough. It's sometimes tough to stomach it as an actor who's always feeling judged. But some of my auditions that I don't feel as good about, I know that I am just not connecting with the people on the other side of the table, and that's okay. Yeah, it's hard to know that, but so I forgot the other school. There were a few other schools. I think USC, UCLA, maybe. Anyway, I was at the audition for Rutgers actually, so that's another school. And Brooklyn College was just at Ripley Greer, and I went in and I was like, hey, maybe I should like examine this just in case I don't get anywhere and for an option in the city. Yeah. And the interim head at the time was great, really sweet. And she was like, we can have you, because I didn't want to audition that day. It was just like too much. So they're like, we'll have you come to campus. And so I did. And I really felt just such a different energy there than I had at the other auditions. That was more personal and nurturing, and not in a babying way, but I needed nurturing. Like, if you're going to really deal with yourself, which that's what an acting MFA is, you need the support and the honest support and the encouragement, but in a way that isn't, condescending or like, babying, but constructive. But still warm. I need warmth, right? And so, I ended up only getting in there once again, but it's okay. Like, I was thrilled. Like, I probably would have chosen that, actually, even if I had gotten into another school, because I did realize, too, that it wasn't New York I needed to leave. It was just it was how I was living. I needed a shift. And so, that's how I ended up there. We ended up moving to Brooklyn because we were in Harlem at the time, and that commute would have been hell. So, yeah.
So this was a 2-year program, you were saying?
It was a 2-year program. I just graduated in May of last year.
Congratulations. Applause things away. So what would you say are, like, the most meaningful? Yes. I'm trying again. I know you don't like saying best.
No, this is more recent, so I feel like I can talk about it a little more.
So what would you say? Did you get the acting education that you have been longing for with this program?
Yes. I still am like so intrigued. We did get some Shakespeare. I still feel like I need more, but there's not enough time in the day to like even do all this Shakespeare.
You know any Shakespeare books I have that I can give you?
Yes. No, seriously. Yeah. I will take them from you. Great.
I do have a textbook though. I'm keeping that.
That's fine.
I also have a textbook too. I did a monologue in college from As You Like It, and afterwards the professor's like, "So you're a performance whore?" I'm like, "Yeah."
That's amazing.
Well, it was a great monologue. So, it was Rosalind and I mean, what did I get to say? Your bugle eyeballs near your cheek of cream that contain your spirit to my worship.
Oh my God.
And my friends are like, "That's such a great line."
Yes. There's so many. Brooklyn College was amazing. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, and I am so grateful for it. The professors are beautiful people who are encouraging and knowledgeable, and they do not try to mold you. The point of that was I was unpeeling the layers. I had to immediately. I started realizing all of my insecurities and all of my habits. We have a choice we have a habit, we have a choice, right? Even if it's subconscious. A lot of the times our habits are subconscious, but ultimately we have a choice. Oh my God, what was I going to say? Sometimes it leaves me.
It happens.
Yeah. Wait.
Do you think that you became more confident in yourself after this program?
Well,
because you've been saying a lot in this podcast where you just like a lot of it is internal and you're figuring it out for yourself.
Yeah.
Do you think having gone through the program that you got to learn more about yourself more as a person? And do you think that'll definitely help you further in acting?
Well, that's impacted my work immensely. Understanding how and why I do things and how it affects my work. I have a lot of issues with control and knowing and the unknown, and I have a huge fear of judgment, which I'm trying to be very open about.
Which is great for acting.
Yes, but in a way that like I judge myself or others because I'm scared of being judged.
I think
a
also
need for
a lot
approval.
of times, like people like who's like your biggest. What is it, like, the person who's the hardest on you? And I feel like a lot of times, sometimes for actors, it's themselves.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
They're
also,
very critical of themselves.
And, this is another thing after I turned 30, I also realized I was like, no one gives a shit. Like, it only gets better after 30 because you kind of come into yourself, right? But regarding, my habits and stuff, it was interesting, too, because I had never... The concept of release in terms of this craft was never put upon me at all.
Yeah.
And that the focus is on the other person, always. I think a lot of times in musical theater, even if it's, not meant to be pushed upon you, the focus becomes on the self. There's so much to get done. Even if you're singing a song out, to somebody else, out into the audience, but it's to somebody else, the focus is still on the self. There's a lot of talk, music. There's something to get right? I had a tendency to need to know the answer to get things right. And so as the 2 years went on, I was unpeeling a lot of layers. There were two really beautiful roles that I got to have while I was there. One act that I did called Take the Car, I got to play two roles and switch between them, between the two women in different ages and by different character. And so I had to make all these physical choices, and with my voice, my body, my all of my work, so that the audience could know. And I talked to a lot of people, and they knew, which they could follow, which was great. So yeah, I think it has changed. It changed me cellularly. Like I actually say that because, regardless of what I do for the rest of my life, I needed to face myself. I really did. I was hiding in myself. I have this tendency, when I'm insecure, I either push and hold back simultaneously in my work, specifically, which a few of my professors pinpointed that, and I was like, holy shit, yes. And one technique that I studied that was incredible for me was called lucid body, and it's a physical technique for actors, but we use the chakras to and apply them to character, but you at first have to apply them to yourself. So understanding my energy centers and which ones were imploded and exploded and spastic, I apply it to my work too. But it did give me some more confidence, but it also made me accept that, it's okay that I mean, it's still hard every day for me to like accept making mistakes and take risks, because
well, also at the end of the day too, if I can give you some motherly Jewish advice, nobody's perfect.
No, I know, but that's just how I operate. Yeah. Like, and I think,
I'll say this: everybody shits on the toilet and farts, even if they don't. They do. Yes. Everybody puts their pants on. Yeah. However they do it. Yeah. Yeah. We all have stuff, and I totally get where you're like, I'm a perfectionist and all of these things.
And I've shed a lot of this, and I think grad school helped me do that. No.
You know what's so funny to me is that you kept saying "Let Go" and "Into the Unknown," and I kept thinking Frozen.
I've never even seen Frozen.
I haven't seen the second one yet.
Embarrassed to say that. No, I've never
fine.
even seen any of it.
Love Frozen.
I want to. I tried to watch it once, but it wasn't, like, the streaming was messed up. I don't know.
It's fine. You'll see it eventually.
But so I feel like, and so at the end of grad school, we actually had to write these solo pieces for my voice class, which that was a lot. And mine was, it was centered around, the overall concept was the journey to self-acceptance, right? Because I think I've had a lot of trouble throughout my life unpeeling enough to actually be like, even knowing what was under there, because I cared so much about what people thought, or I tried to be what I thought people saw, you know? Yeah. And so as I've gotten old, as I've kind of gone through this program and accepted a lot about myself, and also accepted that it's okay, like, not everyone's gonna like me, not, you know, I'm trying to really make choices that are truthful to me in my work and in my life. I don't even know if I'm saying anything right now.
I totally
I feel like I'm just going on a tangent of, like, self-care and self-love.
Much,
but that's
self-discovery.
But it's part of it. It is. Yeah. We are our instrument, right? As actors, I am my instrument. As an actor, I am my instrument. I have to understand this somewhat and be comfortable in my body to be able to throw it all away and completely delve into maybe the psyche of somebody else, right? Yeah. You use yourself. You can't not use yourself in your work. People you don't put things on top of yourself. Yeah. You use yourself to honestly communicate what a character needs and wants and is trying to do to somebody else.
All those things. So you graduated.
I graduated.
Congratulations again.
Thank you.
So now tell the kids at home what you're doing.
Yes, a lot of things are happening now. There's some exciting things and a lot of things that I'm trying to hone in. So I'm auditioning. You know, I.
Are you auditioning for musical theater, or are you auditioning for straight? Okay. Do you have representation?
I am freelancing with a manager right now, currently.
Who may or may not live in
Who is in your building, which is strange.
Listen, you could always be like, hey girl, I'm here. Yeah. I'll be like, come up, have some water out of your waitress mug.
I will next time that I visit. So that's been, that's one relationship that has, I'm freelancing with them, but exclusively, so... It's kind of like they represent me, but there's no contract. So they send me in for a little bit of film and TV as well. I'm ultimately more interested in theater, but the bills,
is better. Like, I can see you do, like, a guest spot on, like, SVU.
Yeah. Well, I just got some new headshots that were more, like, type-driven, and so she wanted something that I could be, like, the young lawyer. Yeah. So I got, like, a more corporate look.
I saw it on Facebook.
Yeah,
it's very nice.
Yes. So, yes, I've been auditioning. Actually, it's funny, because I just auditioned for, like, 3 musicals last week. So it's, like, it varies, right? So I'm auditioning. I started substitute teaching for the New York City Department of Education, which has been a really great supplement to my income because it's very flexible, and that's been good. And if other things are slower, I did start coaching, and so that I've started working with my colleague, PACE alum, and very good friend Melanie Anderson, who is an acting coach and college prep coach.
Where is she based?
South Jersey. So she does, like, South Jersey, Philly. So she first contacted me, and this is how I realized, like, what I'm really enjoying. She first contacted me to consult one of her students. She has me do some monologue, picking out monologues for her students too, which I've been loving, and now my knowledge of plays is like, woo, since grad school. And I think I'm good, actually, at, like, cutting up a monologue if need be, in a good way. But so what she wanted to tell me was she was going to send me a video of her student doing her, I think at this point it was just monologues. I did coach this person in person with Melanie when I visited. But she sent me a video of the monologue and asked me to give her some written feedback. That was, constructive. And so while I was doing this, and I pride myself in, like, the language I use. I learned a lot during grad school. I think that I'm very detailed in what I see and how I can express that in a constructive but also, like, encouraging way. And so I had given that back to Melanie, and it was like night and day. She there was just so much, and I was like, this is something. Like, I really enjoy, like, this specific thing.
Yeah.
So, what I'm hoping to do in the coming months is build, I still work for her and I'm available for coaching, but building my own business in terms of this consultation work with, like, sending me a video and I will give you really detailed, good written feedback, and also Skype sessions. I want to start it online because I think there could be a market for national stuff, and I can contact troops or stuff like that. One other exciting thing that I'm hoping takes off, I had an audition through Brooklyn College for Audible, for audiobooks, and we had a workshop with them. They brought us all in for private auditions, and I passed their rigorous test.
That's
apparently.
Very exciting.
Yeah, so I'm waiting to hear for when a book becomes available that I am right for, but I'm also going to make a reel as soon as possible to try to get my own work. I've always been interested in audiobooks. It's a really tough industry to break into, but I know, even when I was at the audition with the producer, I was like, this is awesome. Like, this is where I lie. I like intimate, like, one-on-one stuff. I love storytelling. I like working with recordings because I've had a lot of studio experience as a singer. So yeah, I'm really hoping that could be a thing.
You can also just try voiceover too.
Yes. Again, I'm interested in that too. There's so many things.
There's so many things.
But then I'm trying to still pay my bills and, like, so
Girl,
trying
you
to
just
hone
need to,
in.
like, try and do it all. I mean,
which I am, but again, and staying sane during this and self-care because
I'm a big proponent in self-care.
Yeah.
I even tell people, like, even if you have to take 5 minutes and go to the bathroom and just sit on the toilet and just breathe, you gotta do it.
Yeah, no, I've been really much better about that. I started meditating and trying to take care of my body in different ways, but that takes time too. So it's the balance is real. The balance is hard, and that's why I'm hoping to start making money in ways that I love to supplement my auditioning, because I'm just at a point in my life where the side job that I don't care about just doesn't work for me anymore. Like, I there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. But I can't. Yeah.
Which is kind of funny because, towards the end of this part of the podcast, after we talk about your history, I usually ask, like...
So long, sorry. Oh my God.
Whatever, it's fine. I'm enjoying myself. So it's funny because one of my questions is, like, where do you see yourself in the future?
Oh my God.
And you kind of just answer that a little bit.
Good.
Like, what leads you to where you are now. But, I mean, if you, like... Other than what you want, like, where do you see yourself in the future? I'm not giving you years.
Yeah.
It's just, what, do you want to be, like, a well-known actor? Do you want to be just successful in what you're doing? Like, you obviously making money with what you're doing. Like, where do you see yourself, or what do you want to see your future look like?
I think acting is first and foremost. Like, if I could just act, I would. Though, it's funny, which... Audiobooks is part of that. Like, I'm really interested in this whole thing.
Well, because, sometimes I don't listen to audiobooks, but I would assume there's certain aspects of an audiobook you would have to act.
They like actors because,
I know that, like, Kate McKinnon and her sister have an audiobook.
Yeah.
Where it's just them, like, blah, blah, blah. It's, like, about an evil queen and something.
Oh, that's so great. Yeah. I'm really hoping this takes off. So we'll see. But, acting, performing is forefront. But I really am enjoying this coaching thing, and I'm...
Would you see yourself, like, teaching at a college?
If I'm not... I'm curious... Sounds...
There's no right or wrong answer.
It's so funny. Melanie, who I'm coaching for it, she's like, I was telling her about all the stuff that's going on with me. She's like, you need a 5-year plan. And I'm like, I'm so bad with that. Like, I hate that stuff. But I think I'm at a point in my life, and, I have a partner, and, like, maybe I have to make a 5-year plan. Like, I don't know, because I do want to, not that I've chosen a settled path in any way, but I want to feel settled in some aspects. So I'm not sure what that means. Yeah. Ideally, yes, I would like to just be a successful performer. But a lot comes with that, right? So, like, will there be a point in my life where this lifestyle weighs on me in a certain way and I want to take more of a solid job? I don't know. And potentially, yes. like, but it will be in theater.
I
teaching college,
teach at a college like as an adjunct professor.
As an adjunct, yes,
not like a full timer.
But I'm also I still want to go away for work, like do regional work. Like I'm still auditioning for that, and so if I did that, I think I would need to commit to just being in New York, which I'm open to, but I'm not there right now. So that's why what I've got going is working, and I'm still doing some brand ambassador work, trying to do less of it. But like I was just in Florida for a job for that, but I got to travel, so that was
Are
cool.
we allowed to say what brand ambassador you're?
Oh, what that was? That was for Verizon for the Super Bowl. But yeah, I work for so many different brands. It just who knows.
So have there been any of like in your entirety of life? Has there been any like favorite roles that you've performed?
Yeah. Okay, so I think like my top 2.
Guys, she's like smiling and so excited about this question right now.
I think my top 2 right now that just come to my head, honestly, are Susan and Tick Tick Boom, or Susan and Others.
Where did you play that?
I did that at the Eagle Theater in New Jersey. It's in Hamilton.
Which they're, by the way, making a movie of Tick Tick Boom.
Yes, they are.
Directed by Lin-Manuel Miranda, starring the adorably talented, actually extremely talented Andrew Garfield.
Yes, he's very good.
Yeah, I met him at the stage door of Angels in America, and I told him I saw them in this movie that was at the Tribeca Film Festival. I thought it was my freshman year, but it might not have been. And I said, I have been a fan of yours since this movie, Boy A. And I remember, like, when they announced him as Spider-Man, I was like, oh, it's that guy from Boy A. Because I, like, Googled him when I got back to my dorm room. I'm like, who is this really attractive guy? Yeah. But this was before he was, like, Andrew Garfield. Yeah. And I think, I like to think I personally have a very good gift of, like, figuring out or, like, finding out who people are before they make it big. I don't know, it's just my thing.
No, so that role, that was my first, well, oh no, I did Rent the year before. I don't know, there was something about that show particularly. I was 20. I was 28.
She was in her 20s.
I was 28 when I did it, so I was approaching 30.
So like a year ago.
Which is what the show is about. So I think it was very relevant to certain things I was experiencing within within my life and my business. But also, the music is amazing, and I had a really good partner, like in the show, who's still one of my good friends. And the one cool thing about that, I think that was the first time. Maybe not, but that I can recall, at least in a professional setting like that I got to switch between a lot of roles, and some of my switches were very quick. So it was just a new tool in your toolbox. In my toolbox, and just something new that I got to explore. I also just love that material. I love the music, and I love the characters I played. So that was great.
And what's your other one? My
other one is a show I did last year. At school called Porch Play. It's written by Kate Kremer, who is a Brooklyn College playwriting graduate. The play is wonderful, and it's about this group of five friends, and I got to play this girl named Candace who does some really bad things, but they're all from a place of truth, and she believes she's doing good. And so there was a lot that I was toying with during this, as an actor, as a person, and also with myself, and trying to like deal with the rest of school and do, like, I wanted to do so much more work on the script, but you can only do what you can do, right? Yeah. And so there were just things that I had to accept at the time, and just the writing is really, her writing is really good and relevant, and easy to sink your teeth into. So and my cast was just wonderful. So I just really enjoyed that play too. I also really enjoyed Hair and Rent. Like, they're iconic roles. I got to play Sheila and Mimi, and like it was just I feel lucky.
So I feel like there's a question I ask every single guest on this podcast, but I kind of want to wait for that to be the last question.
Okay.
Because I feel like, and I just find it funny that it catches people off guard.
Oh, God.
But so normally around this time, we always play a game, and I told Tara, I was like, I honestly couldn't think of a game to play with you. Because I know Tara, but I don't know Tara enough to be like, this is the game I will play for you. So Tara and I went to Pace, and that's where they have Inside the Actor Studio.
Yes.
So what we're going to do is we're stealing the Inside the Actor Studio questionnaire by Gerard something French. So there's 10 questions on here.
Oh dear.
And Tara's going to answer them.
I am.
So, Tara, what is your favorite word? There's so much French. Do you want me to answer them with you?
No. The first thing that came to mind is really vulgar, so I'm not going to say. No.
You can say it.
It's not my favorite, though.
But you can say it.
No, I
can't.
Is it
vagina?
No.
Penis?
No. Can I tell you a word I hate? Is that one of the questions?
Well, stick with your favorite word first.
I don't have a favorite word.
Mine is love.
Oh, that's good. Okay, I'm just gonna say what comes to mind.
Yeah. It could be the dirty one. Who cares?
No. Damn it, Mom! No.
Sorry, guys.
It's
I
okay.
keep getting text messages. I'm so popular today.
Let's say, oh my God, what is my favorite word? Smoosh.
Smoosh? That's
cute.
cute.
That just came up. Honestly, it's probably not my favorite word, but it's fine.
Okay, so then what's your least favorite word?
I hate the word titty. Like, I
do too!
I fucking hate it so much.
I hate the word
and
tits, titty, pussy, ugh.
I don't
and
mind
panties.
pussy. There was another one that I hated
just,
that
cringe
came up in grad school, I think, and my classmates used to tease me. Was it titty? Ooh, I can't even say it.
I know.
Oh God. Let's move on.
I hate the word tits, titties.
I don't mind tits as much. It's
You know what's
titty.
interesting?
It's
I really don't like the word pussy.
I don't really
I don't like saying it. And I don't like the word panties either, like I mentioned. But I love Neil LaBute. He's one of my favorite playwrights. And I know people think I'm crazy because of it. But he wrote a play called Fat Pig. And I remember reading it in college and being and I hate using this word, but the lead character of the show is such a fucking pussy. And that's in my head. Okay, so question 3. What turns you on? Could be sexual. Might not have to be.
No, I
always find it funny. Sorry to interrupt. When he asks a question, and then the guest would be like, "What sexually?" And he'd be like, "Oh well, your guests are here to learn." Because it can go 50-50.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, just genuineness. Seriously, I just hate fucking facades. And I can't deal with them. I hate small talk. Just be genuine. Just be nice. Just be real. Just be honest.
That's why Tara likes me so much, guys.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Thank you. What turns you off? Ooh, I feel like there's a list, guys.
This is one of my biggest fucking pet peeves on the subway. Those fucking assholes who have their music and won't put on headphones. There is no justification for that. Ever. There is no reason. I try to give people the benefit of the doubt about a lot of things, but for that one thing, there's no way that someone could say this, and no one ever confronts them. Me and these other people, when it happened the other day, were actually laughing about that, and I said no one ever confronts them because they're scared. I finally did once, and this kid, he was just such an idiot to me. He was like, what? It's fine. Anyway.
I think that also comes with adulthood.
You would think so. No, it doesn't. They're not always kids.
What sound or noise do you love? I love your reaction to these questions.
I literally hate these kind of questions, so that's why it's okay. We're doing them. This is good for me.
Well, I told you. Well, this is good for an acting exercise.
Yes,
getting you out of your comfort zone.
I know.
I wonder
what sign do I love?
What it would be for me to make me uncomfortable. Well, nobody's interviewing me, so it's
what sound do I love?
I like the sound of rain.
Oh, that's a good one.
Or Coldplay music. Boyfriend playing guitar.
He doesn't play guitar.
Playing piano. Ukulele. I don't know.
He doesn't play any instruments.
But he wrote "She Used to Be Mine" as an arrangement.
Oh no, he wrote lyrics to it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's interesting.
I would do parody lyrics.
Yeah, that's what it is, kind of. But it's not a parody, if you will.
I remember freshman year of college, I wrote a parody lyric to a Spamalot song in regards to my friend sleeping with someone.
I thought of one.
Oh yes, but
I really like the crackling fire.
So you must love a Yule log on Christmas.
I'm not. I don't really celebrate, so. But yeah,
that's fine. What sound or noise do you hate? The sound of people on the subway who don't use their headphones.
Yes, let's go with that.
Okay,
great.
What is your favorite curse word?
Fuck.
Mine too. I use it a lot now.
I obviously do. Fuck, it's a great one. There's and
like,
the thing is, it's like, it's a great word because it doesn't necessarily mean something bad. I usually say fuck in conversation when I'm feeling very emphatic or passionate about something.
You know, it's interesting. So speaking of Inside the Actors Studio, I remember Matt Damon's when he was saying like fuck, because you can use it so many different ways. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I'm literally getting off my bed. I'm like, oh fuck, I'm old. You know? Or
yeah,
like,
it's the best.
You know, it's just
also I asked Liza Minnelli a question, and I was on TV for that one with Blonde Highlights in 2007. So you should check that out.
I was on Matt Damon's.
Yes.
I had to YouTube to see if I can find it.
Oh.
I have my own YouTube clip.
That's amazing.
That somebody put up like 14 years ago.
Really? That's great.
If you guys YouTube Matt Damon on Stuck on You, you're welcome. You'll see.
And it's just the clip of you?
It's just my...
That's great.
Well, you know what happened with that Inside the Actors Studio? I was like, you know what, I'm going to ask a question, and I've never asked one. My heart was like out of my chest. And then I was going to ask if he wants to direct, if he wants to do this. Yeah. And I remember either reading or watching an interview with like him and Greg Kinnear and them saying that like when they were attached together, they would never go number 2. They would only go number 1.
What if you had to go?
I don't know. You have to hold it in. And then also like the Farrelly brothers are known for like, there was a lot of controversy with like Shallow Hal with them. So mine was like a 2-part question. And if you knew what the question was, you can tell they split it in half. So it was like what it was like to work with the Farrelly brothers and literally so close to Greg Kinnear. And that was actually the last question of the night. And everybody else's questions were so serious, and mine was just like this silly question.
Yeah, that's great.
And so like even one of like the producers of the show, who like I kind of knew because I ushered at the theater, she even came up to me at the end and she was like, "That was a great question." Yeah. So
I asked Tom Hanks too, but I wasn't on TV for that.
My Tom Hanks experience for Inside the Actors Studio is I was in the front row. And, like, you're one person, and then moving to your left was somebody I was sitting next to, and then me. And somebody asked him about types. And he goes, you know, you can be round-faced and this, and then you can be Latina and this. And then he looked at me, and then he goes, so what do I mean by types? So, like, I was like...
You're like, well, you had nothing to say? Like what?
Overweight? Like, what do you want?
Oh,
okay,
wow.
Anyway. But literally he looked at me, couldn't think of anything, and moved on. So, like, I don't know if that was, like, an insult or if he was just being nice.
Or, no, maybe he just, like, didn't know what to say.
Tom Hanks is supposedly, like, one of the nicest guys in Hollywood. Yes, I've heard that, too. So, anyway, what profession other than yours would you like to attempt?
A therapist. Wait, like, is this a true, like, would I actually do it?
Well, it's however you want it to be. You can say florist. I don't know.
I'm just going to say therapist.
Okay. What profession would you not like to do?
A police officer.
Yeah. Now, the last question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
You did it.
Yay!
Yay! I'm like the worst at questions.
It's Tara,
you know,
everybody,
but it's okay.
Girl, if you become well known enough, people are gonna have to media train you.
Okay, no, that was me, my authentic self. What if my authentic self is a little spastic? That's fine.
So if you were to be asked, like, what was it like working with your like co-star and your co-star was
different.
Horrible? Yeah, I'm saying, like, media training, they train you how to act and, like, interviews and stuff. Like, if you're, like, well-known enough.
I'm not worried about that.
Yeah. Again, that's where my entertainment knowledge is coming into play.
I can do that stuff. I'm talking about, like, the personal questions that are random that could have a million answers that I can't think of anything.
It's fine. It's this silly little podcast.
Oh, I know.
You'll probably have, like, 5 people listen to it.
It's, how long have we, oh, my God. Who's going to want to listen to, like, us being here for 2 hours?
We're at an hour and 57.
Oh, dear.
It's probably longer because we stopped a couple of times.
Oh, my God.
So now we have, like, one last thing, and then I'm going to ask you the final question. Okay. So this is what I told you called Review It. Well, we can, like, review a thing. You know, I actually really quickly did not make an Oscar podcast because the last podcast was before the Oscars. I just, like, I was very underwhelmed. Like, there wasn't anything I was, like, so excited about. I think, like, the most exciting moment where I was like, oh, shit, that's awesome, was when Parasite won for Best Picture. Other than that, I was like, whatever. And that's my Oscar review.
Yeah, so you don't need to do a podcast on it necessarily.
No, not really. And, like, the winners. And plus, I just, like, there wasn't, like, anything I was, like, really thrilled about. You kind of knew who was going to win everything anyway. So I think, like, the biggest surprise might have been, like, Sam Mendes not winning. But also, you kind of knew it could have gone to the guy who directed Parasite.
Mm-hmm.
Bong Joon. I'm going to butcher his name. So, anyway, is there like a film or a TV? We were talking about Fleabag that you recently got into.
I would like to talk about one show I saw recently that I loved so much. Is that cool?
Yes.
Okay. I loved Jagged Little Pill.
Mm-hmm.
I feel very passionate about this for a lot of reasons. First of all, I do think because, that album is very dear to me.
Just quickly, if you guys don't know what Jagged Little Pill is. No, it's all good.
It is a Broadway. Yes. Would you like to?
If you don't mind.
Please do.
So I'm sure everybody who is listening to this podcast knows what Jagged Little Pill is. But if not, it is a musical based on the Alanis Morissette album written by Diablo Cody, who has an Oscar for Juno.
She wrote the book.
Yeah, she wrote the book, not the music, obviously.
Well, yeah.
And I believe it's directed by Diane Paulus, who won the Tony for Porgy and Bess, I believe, or
She did hair.
She did hair. I don't think she won for hair. I think Porgy and Bess. I think she did Pippin. I just remember the year that she won the Tony. It was the same year that Pam McKinnon won for Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. And that year, it was 2 female directors who won. Oh. Which was really cool. Yeah. If they won for musical and direction of a play.
Maybe she did win for hair. I don't remember.
She won for one of the musicals that she did. Anyway, so.
Pippin? Yeah. Okay. Anyway. So I love that album. So I think part of the reason I was so moved by the piece was because I love that album. But first of all, I loved the story. Like, I thought it was very relevant and feminist and exciting. And I do have to say that Lauren Patton's You Ought to Know fucking killed me. Like, if you ever listen to this, Lauren, which I don't know if you'd get this far, that was fucking incredible. I was like shaking.
I hear that she's gotten like standing ovations before.
Yeah, she did. I also had an incredible seat. I bought my ticket on TDF. I was in row 4 of the mezzanine center. So like, killer.
The mezzanine in that theater is really not bad.
But I was in the 4th row center.
Frankie and Johnny.
Oh, I saw that too. Yeah. But anyway, so like, yeah, that performance, wow. But the way that those songs were integrated into the story it was flawless. And this is why I live for like any pop musical theater, and this is also why I just live for musical theater, because if you are going to have a song, as I said earlier, you have to feel so passionate that you don't have to speak, you have to sing. So like, they used Alanis's full lyrics. Like, they are colorful, incredible storytelling lyrics to further the story, but also tell a story during the song. Like, it was just brilliant. It was brilliant. Like, and the performances were great, but from a book perspective, from a dramaturgy perspective too, like, it was just so well done. I was crying like most of the show. Who cries during that? I don't know. I was crying.
People.
Because I was so excited and moved. And also, like, Tom Kitt with his orchestrations. Like, he took those songs. I think Alanis wrote like 2 additional songs for it as well. But he created his orchestrations were amazing. The harmonies that were added were just so good. And so that is why I live for theater. Like, I want to see that on stage. And it was raw and honest. But I think the most exciting part of it for me was like the technicalities of the book and the songs and all of that, because it was just so well done. And, we have all these opinions about jukebox musicals now, and how a lot of the times it's like, I don't need to see this. And sometimes they are very good, but still, a lot of the times, like, the book will be good, but does the song really drive the story in the moment? Like, it was brilliant. And so I don't know. And my parents are going to see it Wednesday. I'm really excited. I got them tickets through TDF.
I have not seen it yet. I had the opportunity to through work, but then I actually got tickets to a different show, which I kind of wish I saw Jagged Little Pill instead.
What did you see?
I saw the off-Broadway production of Macbeth at Classic Stage Company.
Oh, I saw that.
I was kind of bored as soon.
Corey Stoll is so amazing.
When
did you see him as Iago? It's Shakespeare in the Park.
No, I saw him as Judas though. No, not Judas, as Brutus in I also just love Corey Stoll.
I love him. And he went to LaGuardia. He went to my high school. Oh, really?
It's funny because when he was just like lying there on Macbeth, like as Macbeth, I was like, I would write on top of him. I know that's like really.
He's married to.
He's married to the woman who plays Lady Macbeth.
Yes, who I saw in Life Sucks. She's very good too.
But it's funny because last month my friends and I went to Glass House for my birthday, and sitting behind my friend was Corey Stahl, and my friend and I were just crying laughing that he was there because we were literally just talking about him and Macbeth.
Yeah.
I just like
very good.
Everybody was great. It's just the production I kind of was really bored as soon as it started. And like the scene with Malcolm was when I like started to get interested in the show. I don't know. It wasn't for me. Although I am excited about seeing Assassins there.
Oh my god! I hope they actually have the access tickets for that.
That's why I got the membership, so I can get like early access to that. Yeah. I have a lot coming up too. So I saw Sing Street off Broadway, and I just got tickets to see it on Broadway in May. I have so much stuff coming up. Oh my god! Anyway, so now that we're coming to a close, the question I ask everybody: are you ready?
Yes.
I feel like I'm very curious to see what your answer and how your
too.
Physicality to this is
going to be. Oh god.
Because I'm very good. I think I can do a Tara impression by the end of this podcast.
Good thing it's a podcast, not a video.
Why is theater important? Yeah, you're welcome. I told you I'm good at this.
Theater. So theater is a conversation, I think. It gives people a chance to be immersed in a story, and it also gives actors a chance to use their brains and their bodies, and then it's a collaboration. I might not make sense. I'm just gonna fucking ramble right now.
Tara, that's what we've been doing for like over 2 hours.
This is just how I function. So it is a collaboration.
This is a very loose podcast.
I know. It is a way to tell stories that can truly impact people, though, I believe, in a different way than maybe film can, because it is live and it is all about energy. You are in there with the audience and the actors and the designers, and it is all a collaboration, and it is live at that fucking moment, and so much can happen, and you are impacted in a moment. There's no screen, there's no barrier. It's raw, it's in front of you, it's dangerous. And so, and you know what, sometimes it's an escape. When I go to the theater, I'm like, great, I'm here and I'm here, and it is a way to tell stories that will never get old. Like, I don't think that, like, the medium is solid. Like, I don't know.
I don't remember who mentioned this. I feel like I'm like Alan Cumming. I'm probably 100% wrong. But I was watching something recently, and somebody was saying, like, the difference between, like, theater, film, and television. It's like television and film, even though you get multiple takes, like, it's filmed and it's set.
That's
theater,
what it is too.
It could change from night to night.
And that's one thing that I think I had to accept through my grad school work, and one reason sometimes in musical theater that I might not be everyone's choice is because I'm not polished. And I used to try to be polished. And sometimes people want polished in musical theater. I'm never going to be polished. And I have started to embrace that. So I used to hold so much because I was trying to be polished and create the same thing every time. I would analyze my work to like a fucking absurd degree that was disgusting. And now I have released into some of my stuff. And exactly what you said, like it changes every night. That one moment can never be recreated. Ever.
I also do you ever see the movie Garden State?
Yes,
so
but
Natalie
I don't remember
Portman,
it much.
I don't remember specifically how it was brought up, but like Natalie Portman's character's like in this moment, like if you do something, you can't reenact it or it like won't be the same again. So she gets up and does like a dance.
Yeah.
And then she's like, see, that'll never happen again. Yeah.
No, exactly.
Kind of interesting. But I realized I forgot to ask what your top theater experiences are. We can skip it if you don't want to say.
Well, no, I want to just leave it right now.
You just want to leave it at Jagged
I'm going to leave it at Jagged Little Pill. I mean, I've seen so much fucking theater in my life. I actually save playbills. I have drawers and drawers and drawers. Yeah. But
I write down every time I see a show.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah.
I've seen over 100 in my lifetime. I've been seeing shows since I was 5.
No, I think I've seen more than 100. Like.
Oh, no, I definitely have.
Oh.
Like, I don't know exactly the number.
Oh, yeah. But, I feel like every single show has impacted me in a different way, and I like living in that.
Has there been a least favorite show that you've seen?
Probably.
You can't think of?
I can't think of it off the bat. I'm gonna leave it at Jagged Little Pill. Let's leave it at that high.
Cool. So we'll leave it. Well, maybe we should just end the podcast there.
Maybe we should.
Tara, is there anything before we officially end you want to add, that you want to say, that you have questions for me, or if you want to put out into the world? What's up?
Yeah, no, I think. Thank you, Allison, for having me.
Tara,
this has been a great conversation.
Yeah. You are more than welcome to come back anytime.
Yes. I don't really have anything more to say. I think, thank you for listening to my saga and my life and my complications, and I'm just trying to be.
The large part of the podcast is to have different people on to hear their stories and how they pursue things, because everybody's different.
Yeah.
And, everybody's pursuing their love of theater differently, whether it is acting, whether it is going to graduate school, whether it is coaching and acting and doing whatever. That's kind of the main focus of the podcast, is get different people on to tell their life perspectives, and everybody is different, and that's kind of what's so great about the theater and this world, and having different people come on. And so thank you again. Is there any social media shout outs? Follow Theater Enthusiast podcast.
I can't even say the word.
I can't either.
Theater Enthusiast podcast. If you want to follow me, I'm at. Did we say at? Is that how you say it?
Yeah,
or just
at
Tara Novie?
Yeah.
My website is www.taranovie.com.
Yeah.
Check it out. I have some photos and videos from some stuff.
Yeah.
So.
I will say that this podcast is only on a hosting website called Buzzsprout. So spread the word.
I will spread the word. I'm going to plug this. You have no idea.
Please plug away.
If anyone will listen to our 2 hours and 15 minutes of talk.
We're 2:10.
Yeah, we'll see.
That's fine.
If they get this far.
Listen, we're an entertaining bunch,
are.
guys.
And you know what? You don't have to listen to it all in one piece.
No, take your time. There's other podcasts on there if you need a break from hearing Tara and I talk about whatever, and then come back to it. We got a lot of good ones on there. All right, kids, until next time. We actually have somebody coming on next week who I'm excited about, but I will announce it on my Instagram at some point. And have a good one.